This match, I think their forward pressure has been cutting edge. They've stopped a lot of sides from getting the ball out, and I think if they can apply the pressure to the Bombers in a similar fashion, I think the Bombers will struggle to get the ball forward. I hope that they somehow have a flat one, because I love watching the Bombers and I'd like this to be a nail-biter.
And they've decided that Stanton's the most dangerous player, with Jones going to him to try and lock him down and not get much of the ball.
Pears and Cozzy there as McBurney bounces the ball. By the way, McBurney, Chamberlain and Pennell are the three field umpires in charge of this Twilight footy game, live and exclusive on Fox Sports. Opportunity for Riewoldt with his influence there over the top of it. Hooker was able to get the first real possession here for the Bombers. Watson, been a ball magnet this year. Lovett got one high.
And that's what they have to do. You can already see Essendon's game plan, just handball and run and try and get the ball in as quickly as possible.
Geary a little careless there as Hooley goes out wide, looking for, not being able to find a teammate. Here's Milne working on the half-back line, unusual for him.
Good decision from the boundary umpire. Just took it over ever so slightly, but already we can see the impact of an Andy Lovett. He just has the capacity through his speed to cut sides up, and he was there. It was a poor handball coming off the back from Hooker, but his speed backed his teammate up and made a positive movement out of what looked like it was going to be a turnover.
And you've got McPhee on Gwilt to the half-back line for Essendon. I would imagine that's so that McPhee can drop off and play the second man up when Kosicki and Riewoldt are going for the ball.
Saints left of screen. Gardner has been fantastic for the Saints this year. I thought his career was almost finished with the injury-riddled year of last year, and he's responded brilliantly. Watson, Montagna able to get a quick kick out of the pack, and here we go with Gwilt and McPhee, the 2.33s. Clear winner there. He's got Riewoldt running loose on the inside. He's got time, poise and composure needed just offline.
And it's a fair job, Jared, for Cale Hooker on Riewoldt. Hooker, in his first handful of games. We've got Riewoldt, the champion from St Kilda. It'll be an interesting battle.
Play on from full-back for Pears and finds McPhee. Sloppy handball by McPhee made Dempsey go low. And now an opportunity here for Hocking. Inboard ball. So once again, this is exactly what we were speaking about pre-game and what the Bombers need to do. Penetrate by foot through the zone. They did it so well last week. He's Neagle. Couldn't hold the mark. Dawson did well to spoil Fisher. Just ever so reliable tidying up on that back half.
Well, BT, St Kilda is so good at their frontal pressure. If you take the mark and go back, they'll come up on you and force you to go wide. St Kilda, Essendon, trying not to let that happen.
Beautiful delivery from Hayes to Riewoldt. Riewoldt a little bit uppish in the kick to Kosicki, and this time in front is his direct opponent in Pears.
Terrific play by Pears. Read that he had to get in front and take the mark and not try and spoil.
So half back, and already you can see the Bombers trying to slide into this small kick game to penetrate the middle. Here's Lovett. This is the other way they do it, with pure carry, speed and penetration by foot and by hand as well. Here's Davey. Decides to retreat and go backwards, and now Dempsey.
And now the pressure comes on from the Saints forwards, and this is a good move because he's got it over the line.
Lonigan on the wing. A very, very good little player for the Bombers he has been. Ryder's underneath this, got to go over the top. Gardner almost had a hand in the back of Ryder. Picked it up, gave it to Neagle. He's a thumping kick. This one's around the corner. First one to the Bombers.
Well, I really like the move from defence, 30. They mucked around with the ball just going sideways when they were deep. They almost wanted St Kilda to come to them, and as soon as they drew them in like a magnet, there was a long kick over which set this very good shot from Neagle up for a goal.
Yeah, it's a fantastic goal by Neagle. And look, Essendon are right. They're a run and carry team. They're going to try and run and draw and suck St Kilda, and St Kilda do go at the play with the ball. And in that fashion, Essendon created some space over the back, and Neagle, terrific kick. A banana kick from 40, 50 metres out and straight through the middle.
Well, let's see if some scoreboard pressure will make a difference here to the Saints' attitude. If the Bombers can get away with a medium lead early in the game, 18, 20 points, something of that nature, we'll see for the first time this year the Saints under some pressure. Jones has been a really accomplished player this year for the Saints, and Fisher, a really good finisher. Del Santo, the smooth-moving Del Santo. Fluid, beautiful kick to the advantage of Riewoldt. Sensational Del Santo ball.
And BT, Hocking on Del Santo just got lost. Del Santo great at creating his own space and getting away from the player who's tagging him. Hocking trying to close him down, giving him far too much space over the back there, and that's a great kick. Into space, over the top of the pack. That's a hard player to see over the top, and Riewoldt in perfect position.
You said earlier, BT, but this man is in the sort of form where he could easily kick 10 goals plus.
He could. Well,
He's
a good
missed
start.
one.
Yep. And he lines up from the same distance that he missed the last one, except this one is a set shot. A little bit left of centre is the spot, and he's right onto it. So Riewoldt gets the first for the Saints.
And so important for St Kilda that Riewoldt kicks straight early. I think if he kicks his first couple of goals and gets his confidence up, his kicking normally follows that trait for the rest of the night. So, here's Del Santo, and what would it be? Jared, 15, 20 minutes of space away from his opponent Hocking.
Way too much.
Too much space.
Particularly a guy like Del Santo, you've got to get in their heads early in the piece. You've got to be right on top, and the coach will be saying things like, we don't want you not to get your own footy. But in reality, when you're on Del Santo, don't worry about how many kicks you get until you've got him in your pocket.
Especially in the first quarter, closing down the first quarter, then try and get some ball second quarter, even second half of the game. But Del Santo gets his tail up, he's unstoppable.
So a goal apiece, plus the behind for the Saints sees them just the 1 point in front. Good crowd into Etihad for this twilight game as well, in excess of 40,000.
Interesting look into forward line, Hurdy. Matthew Lloyd, one out in the goal squirt. Everybody else up on the half forward line for the bounce.
Yeah, pushed everyone out. Joe Nagel's moving back there now and to sort of create some more tall targets down the forward line, but giving Lloyd a lot of space early.
Every player on the ground down the corridor from both sides there. No one out wide on the wings at all. So this is going to allow the pace of people like Montagna to exploit their direct opponents. There's Jones, will want the left foot, went the hand instead. Lenny Hayes, short ball, Kaczynski on the lead, Marks presenting up beautifully. Well within his range, Angle will test him. And Lenny Hayes showing his brilliance by foot.
And the one thing the Bombers give you, BT, is space in your forward line. Already St Kilda showing some space.
Kaczynski for his 13th goal of the year comes in. This one needs to bend. It does. Goal umpire Chelsea Roffey says yes, goal.
And it'll be interesting, Jared, to see whether Essendon continue to play with that style. Obviously only early, but what they've done is by moving it and running it so quickly into trying to get it out of their back line, there's space for Kaczynski and for Riewoldt to lead into. This, too much space in the forward line. Yep. Jones over to Hayes. Hayes, like Del Santo, you can't afford to give those players so much space, and an easy hit up pass to Kaczynski, got himself in a good position and kicked a fantastic goal.
And there it is, a magnificent conversion. We'll take a look at the forward setup for the Bombers, and to me, Hurdy, this suggests that they are really keen on Ryder winning this tap and just a long kick straight into the forward line. There's the space, so don't expect too much flair out of the Bombers out of the centre. If they get it, it'll be into that forward line, trying to pinpoint a pass to Lloyd.
Okay, so we're away with a 7-point lead to the Saints. Here's Watson, fast hands needed. Was able to thread the needle, and the Bombers go into attack through Hocking. And a free kick against the Bombers, non-freeze. And it'll be Blake Gilbert. Another vital link that doesn't often get mentioned is Gilbert Fisher, now the distributor of the ball normally from that sort of corridor position, if you like. Here's King, a welcome return for him to share the duties with Gardner. Look at Cozzy presenting up on the wing.
I think you can always tell the strength of the side by looking at their bench. Off came Hayes Colby, and on went Luke Ball.
Great change up, Jared, exactly, and Lovett Murray are changing on the wing, noticing that Graham is going to go all the way with Andrew Lovett tonight.
Look at Farron Ray off the deck, gave it to Riewoldt, couldn't glove it cleanly, was able to tidy it up though, advance it forward. Goddard's always a dangerous player. Dyson happy for that ball to run to the behinds.
Interesting battle, Dyson on Goddard. I mean, Dyson's a terrific player with the ball in his hands, not known for his defensive actions, and if he's on Goddard across half forward for St Kilda, Goddard, I think, far too tall and strong for him in a contested situation.
Farron Ray in front, unlucky not to be paid the mark, and there's Lovett Murray getting it off, and under real pressure here. This is typical St Kilda, already seeing what they're capable of with their pressure skills. Lonigan, the tap, in went ball, cop one high. Will he get a free? Yes, he does.
Well, it's brilliant work by Farron Ray. I think he got his hand in there and just slipped it out to Luke Ball.
He can go very wide. I would have liked the Rewald option there. And now an opportunity. Montagna goes short and finds McWalter.
And too much space for McWalter. He was 10 metres of space in the 50-metre zone. And, you know, Essendon already, they're showing some great stuff when they've got the ball, but getting back, they're not getting back quickly enough. And definite free kick there to Luke Ball.
And you're spot on, Colby. I just saw Lovett come back on to the ground, and Jason Graham came off the inner bench, changed bench to follow him onto the match, the arena.
So McWalter lines up in his 43rd game. Kick on the way, good-looking ball. He likes it. Umpire's got to agree, of course, but I think it's there. The Saints have got their third.
Yeah, that goal came about because obviously St Kilda won the ball back, and Essendon didn't pick their man up. Luke Ball got the free kick, went wide, but there was Essendon players free guarding space in their back line. If you're going to play a zone defence or stay off your man, you've still got to guard a dangerous opponent, Jared. There's no point guarding grass or no one around when there's a guy 10 metres in the clear, 30 metres out from goal.
I think what's hurting them, though, was the turnover. They've elected to try and get over the top of the St Kilda forward pressure. And in doing so, they've worked it well into their forward line a couple of times, but on that occasion there was a turnover after they won possession, but they got swarmed. The St Kilda swarm got hold of them, turned it over, and there was a loose man on the rebound.
Need to get their noses over the ball and win a few contests here at the moment, the Bombers. 3 in a row to the Saints. They lead it by 14 points. We go back to the middle. Del Santo with the clearance, although Lovett Murray got in the way. An opportunity here once again for King to clear out the handball in the Ray direction. Lovett Murray, the pursuer, got enough of it to get it to Gilbert. Montagna.
Good hands.
They were indeed. Graham back to Montagna, penetrating ball forward, caught behind Kazitsky, and that time free kick will go to Pears.
Well, he likes to take the front spot, Pears, and I think if you know that the ball, once the ball's in flight, that's a fantastic attribute to do. Taking it without knowing where the ball is fraught with danger.
Yep.
Dyson. Zaharakis on half-back. Lightning start for the Saints. Short ball, Lonigan. Looking for the corridor. Penetration found it in Davey. This is where they need to be inch perfect through the forest here.
Taking on. He's got the skills.
It's littered with mines as Davey kicks in hope and without great direction.
And Essendon desperate to go down the corridor, but you can't get down the corridor if no one's going to be there to kick to.
Geary's kick over the top to Milne.
In trouble.
Didn't have the pace to run him down. The help from McPhee was very nice indeed. Here's Basher Hooley.
Interesting matchup there, BT. Basher Hooley on Stephen Milne. Basher Hooley not known for his defensive play. He's severely tested by Milne as the ball goes forward.
Here's Winderlick. A little bit of overuse of the ball. Bell Chambers, the big fella in there. King appealing desperately with the umpire. Come on, give it to me, he says. And the umpire agrees.
Well, this is just great stuff for Essendon, just to find out where they're at the present time, because we know they're on the lift, but now they are facing a different form of pressure than they've had to encounter over the last few weeks.
Are they adjusting to that at the moment, or do you think it's unadjustable?
I think they hang in there. I think they're hanging in there. They're getting enough of the ball. There's a couple of disposals that have come out right. If they go into quarter time in touch, I think they've had a good quarter.
Hayes. Blake. It's time for the Bombers to just settle here, even though the Saints have the ball. Montagna doing some early first quarter damage. His ball started on the bench today. The kick is wide to Justin Kazitsky. Pursued, but to no avail. The kick, Lloyd lost it somehow. Now Fisher's got it all to do. Dempsey, tackle wasn't fantastic, didn't pin the arm. Now Lenny Hayes to ball. Ball downfield. Kick once again a little bit short. Pearce was able to bring it to the ground. Now an opportunity for the big fella here and Hooker to get involved. And Hooley handball straight to Kazitsky. Off balance kick behind. Poor handball by Basher.
And Jared, already St Kilda starting at a break on that contested possession, 17-12. I know it's only early in the game, but that's where Essendon can't afford to lose the game. They have to be ahead on that number if they're any chance of winning.
Well, that nearly became a disaster, that handball.
They try again by foot to weave their way through this full court zone, or full ground zone that they're pressing at the moment, the Saints, and
Got to start running at those two, BT.
They do. It's stationary, isn't it?
They need runners from behind to come through to give the handball to you. Can't get back and try and kick over the mark against St Kilda.
Stagnant. Here's Dempsey.
That's the run. That's what's going to crack it up.
Exactly. This is what they're renowned for, the Bombers. This is why they're up and running here at the moment.
Well done.
Kick down to Eagle as they penetrate the 50 again. Ray.
Because once they get through, BT, there's space. There is space over the top of St Kilda if you can get through that the mire of St Kilda players. Dawson
Involved in a double give and go. Here's Ray around the corner, got dealt with savagely on disposing of the ball, and that'll be a free downfield against Lovett Murray.
It's only marginally late.
The supporters not happy in the background. And a free kick downfield here to the Saints. Snyder and Graham. The run by Snyder wide. Remember, he's a left footer. He squares it up. Rewalt. Fast hands. Ray inside 50. Here go the Saints again. Opportunity. Kaczynski couldn't recover his own ball. Gwilt gave it off. Ball running to the goal. Got it. Saints have got 4 in a row.
And terrific to see Luke Ball finishing with a goal and running hard. The difference in Luke Ball this season compared to his last few seasons, Jared, when he was, cruelled by injuries to his groins, he looks a totally different player to me.
He's confident, and he's starting to, I think, enjoy his footy once again. As is Farron Ray. I've just been absolutely thrilled with his work rate. Slightly late, good decision from the umpire. But the good thing was Farron Ray was up and about. There you see him in support running again. And Luke Ball could have kept going, but he had the wherewithal and the knowledge to just slide that one through without too much pressure from his opponent, Wingerlich.
The goal there was as a result of Adam McPhee not having touch on his opponent. Gwilt just had too much space. Gwilt went to the front. Adam McPhee decided to stay to the back. If you're going to play on a player in the back line when you've only got 3 or 4 players back there, you can't afford to have that much separation. He's come off the ground only for a rotation, but he needs to be tighter on his man. So
in the old language, heard that he's very popular a few years ago, corralling.
Yes.
To me, just doesn't apply any pressure anywhere.
No. Here's the exciting Lovett from inside the centre square. Nagel. Dawson, the thump away, was very effective.
Talk about players who have come into their own. Jared and Zach Dawson would have to be one of those. This time last year, he couldn't imagine where he is today.
Well, he's holding out Maguire, and what's going to happen when Hunston's available and ready?
Yeah, great footy story at the moment.
He's the new Popeye. He's got arms. I'm not sure where he got them from a can of spinach, I think.
Snyder. Ryder running past it. Dyson, quick snap at goal, missed. Out of bounds on the full, in fact, hit the behind post.
And Ricky Dyson, fantastic there to get the ball in that position, but that's where he needs to improve. He wants to get himself to the next level of player, get his head up. He had a bit more time than that to have a better shot at goal.
Here is the man we speak of, Zach Dawson. Goddard strong.
Goddard against Dyson there, you can just see the strength of the man. Interesting to see that matchup go for the game.
Montagna, 8 disposals in this game already. A beautifully weighted and flighted kick to Graham. He says, I'm going to kick 5 in a row.
That ball movement was too easy. Once Goddard took the mark and transferred the play, St Kilda just didn't seem under any pressure. Graham going through and finishing off in a nice goal and rewarding himself with terrific running. But here, Montagna goes. I think he's going to Rewalt. Graham slips in. And, I think a little bit too easy, Jared, at the 17 or 18-minute mark of the first quarter.
Yeah, the Saints are going in for the early kill, and it's been a feature of their matches so far this season. Get on the board early, try and break the spirit of the opposition, and coming in. The Bombers would have had some self-doubts. They took on Hawthorn. They had a win. Everything worked their way last week. Well, this week it hasn't worked their way early. They're going to have to really just hold it tight together and mentally together to make sure this doesn't become a blowout.
Andy Lovett, fantastic player when he's got the ball. Graham, his opponent, he's giving him too much space. You can't afford to be one way in AFL football.
Ryder, beautiful athleticism. Recovered his own ball as well. Here's Dempsey. Lovett Murray. Dyson. Heard the call, missed the target. And now Goddard pounces. To no avail. They just need to possess the ball for a little while. The Bombers, Jones.
I think they've got to get away from the 1 and 2 metre handballs and try and get it to a bloke who's in the clear running forward.
They certainly need to hit those 1 or 2 metre handballs, Jared. The difference so far between this week and last week is to see Lenny Hayes. That's been his game all year, hasn't it? Those fantastic hard tackles and really sets St Kilda on their way.
Great composure here by the Bombers to keep this alive because they have no right to. The pressure on them has been enormous from the Saints and they come out with a win. Well done, Bombers. Lloyd, Hooley, Just took his eye off the ball, not once but twice. Recovers it. And just the pressure at the moment by the Saints is unbelievable. Worrying the Bombers out of possessions.
And they're unthinking handballs, a lot of these handballs. You cannot handball it forward just because there's a red jumper there.
But they haven't got time, Jared, to think about it. Just the swarming defence of the Saints is incredible. Zaharakis needs support. He's got it momentarily. The kick needs to be good. It's not great. Stanton.
Done a good job early, Jones.
Blake. Fast hands Baker involved. Here's Clint Jones, one of the most improved players at the club. Wilt. Gone from defence forward now. Opportunity, Kaczynski on the lead, and he's well within range.
That is a gun mark. A lot of guys that go for a chest mark. This time, Justin Kaczynski puts the big hands out, takes the mark, and if he doesn't get the mark, he's probably going to get a free kick against a lot of opponents who'll just chop down automatically on his arm.
But again, Jared, Wilt, 10 metres in front of McPhee, too far in front. McPhee's got to get up his backside and get closer to him and get a fist to the ball, because if not, the entry into the forward line is too easy. Inside
50s, 10-5 in favour of the Saints already as Kaczynski lines up for his second goal of the first quarter. Here's a bird's eye view of what is happening. It's a beautiful looking ball off the boot, isn't it? It needs no further explanation.
And the St Kilda pressure's doing all this. Essendon are able to work the ball up to the middle of the ground, and if they could just get that next kick, they've got space. But suddenly St Kilda turn the ball over, and when you turn the ball over, you've always got free players. Jones here, you can see this kick to Gwilt, Jared.
Well, I think what you're saying here, Hurdy, is that going in, Ross Lyon would have said, we know McPhee likes to lay off. He doesn't play up on the player. Let's go through Gwilt. Let's try and find him at all occasions. McPhee, in his mind, he's thinking, I'm going to drop back and intercept kicks that are going to Kaczynski and going to Riewoldt. But right now, they've turned the strength of the Bombers into one of its great weaknesses early in the match.
Yeah, definitely. And you can see McPhee now back on the Gwilt. Gwilt's gone right back to full forward to keep McPhee away from those players. But yeah, exactly right. They're spotting up Gwilt and trying to keep him out of play.
I might just say it, the Bombers are just looking non-competitive here at the moment. They are just being out-competed and hustled and bustled for the ball. There's Hooley. Goes inside 50 for the sixth time, and Watson dropping a mark that really he probably should have gobbled up, and now the Saints stroll out of defence under some restraint and pressure, but not enough.
It'd be savage, I reckon, Matthew Knight, because they weren't running down and putting back pressure on like we saw Lovett there.
Graham, they surround him. They knew he was a 50-metre kicker. Well done, the Bomber defence. Snyder slipped the tackle, and in the end, the Bombers' numbers.
Lloyd's off the chain.
Outweigh, and that's the direction it goes, Jared. A 33-point St Kilda lead with still 5 minutes remaining in the first quarter.
I suppose the only positive, BT, for Essendon is they can score very quickly. They do play an exciting up-tempo style of football which can put goals on the scoreboard very quickly, but they do need to stop turning the ball over and get their handballs to hit the targets.
Can't score if they don't have it enough, though, James. I'm with you.
It's a very good point.
Hooker. McPhee.
And there's a forward. There's a great example of that frontal pressure. And it's going to be an opportunity for another goal to Stephen Milne.
There comes Milne. Could have marked the ball. Decided to wait for it to bounce. Snuck out the handball to Riewoldt. Needs a good setter. Clever play to get it on the boot, but was unable to finish.
Just the lightning. I'm not even sure who it was. It was Stephen Baker who left his man and charged up to the handball receiver. He was just thinking much, much quicker than the Bombers.
There they go. Kick back into play. Wasn't all that good. And Ball was able to sneak it out with a little inside-outside shifting boot foot and find McWalter.
Yeah, look, that's disappointing play. I think fundamentally Essendon turned the ball over 35 metres out from goal, 40 metres out from goal. That's a little bit too easy for Matthew Knights, I'd imagine.
Things not going well. There's the replay of the kick in, and you can see that Milne was very composed in somewhat heavy traffic. McWalter lines up for his second goal of the quarter, and this has been a blistering start for the Saints. This will make it 7 St Kilda goals in a row of successful, and he misses. So there's something positive for the Bombers.
Yeah, they're going to stick to their game plan, Essendon. They're going to run, they're going to attack, and good on them. That's what they've come in the game to do. They've come to attack, and they've come to put the game to St Kilda. But they need to get some reward for that attack and get some more of the ball, BT, as you were saying.
There's Milne once again weaving his way through stationary Essendon players.
Very good crowd in here for a twilight footy game at the moment. They're going right back to the back row on the top deck. Here's Dempsey under enormous pressure. They eventually push them all the way back to the boundary line. That is just St Kilda pressure all over there. Here's McPhee. Every possession is under the pump. This, if Geelong is sitting there watching this, has just got to be a little bit scary.
And week after week, Jared, on the couch, I think our second segment is always St Kilda pressure that is up on them. They force teams to handball across that back line, and again, they're doing it to the Bombers and really suffocating their ball movement.
From a forward's point of view, I don't think we've ever seen it at this level, James.
No.
For forwards who are not renowned for their pressure skills, and we know that's been an area in football that's improved in the last 2 years, but I haven't seen it at this level.
Yeah, well, Stephen Milne particularly, was saying before the game that this is not his strength, but the sacrificial acts they're doing for their team and working when they haven't got the ball has been terrific.
McPhee.
I mean, Essendon here have gone from one side of the ground to the other in the last 3 minutes and haven't got it past half back.
Look how quickly the Saints man the mark to make sure that the ball kicker can't play on and gives the zone time to fall in place behind him.
Still 3 against 2. It's got to be Davey to break it.
And Davey does. From 55 out, not such a good result. Nagel!
Great grab.
On the wrong side for his right foot. What will he do? The right foot banana here, play on or come around on the left foot. There is the confronting task. It's a big task. Looks like he's going the right foot banana. He is. Great result. Sensational camera work. Picking that up as it flighted through the middle of the goals.
Jay Nagel, all power, all strength, and a terrific mark, but to finish like that, Jared, finally you've got someone who can kick the banana properly.
Well, we've seen about 4 cracks this weekend, and I reckon you can always tell a true full forward because they just, when other guys are doing 400s, they're in the forward pocket practicing their bananas, and he was a natural at it. I like the jump though. You said all power. That's an enormous grab.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jay, having trained with him a number of times, he's not known for his speed around the town or Princess Park, but that's his strength. He's powerful, he's strong, and he's got great goal sense, and showed it all in a minute there. But if Essendon are to compete, what happened then with Davey getting the ball? They need their speed and skill to come to the fore. They need Lovett with the ball in his hands. They need Winderlich, they need Davey, and they need Dempsey to have a lot more of the ball.
I think most of all, they need to hit their handball targets. They've just been going to ground or behind players way too often.
Dyson running past the ball. His attempt to sock it off the ground. Davey, Slattery, Hocking, Lovett.
Good vision.
Now Stanton to run onto this one. Jones corrals. Got the kick away, Stanton. Lloyd. But Dawson is there. Calm. Kazitsky, Baker under some pressure. Almost out of bounds. Dawson happy to keep it in, even as a defender. And now Hayes. To Milne, strong hands, beautiful.
And the difference, the ball came out of the Essendon forward line compared to the St Kilda forward line. It was just far too easy to come out.
Stationary forwards.
Yeah, it just didn't work hard enough. If you put the St Kilda forwards as the example, the Essendon forward line didn't do it as well as St Kilda has.
Milne goes down the line. Kazitsky throws himself at the ball. Graham, good soccer. McQuarrie to the give and go. That was a deliberate off the inside of the boot there, but didn't quite come off to Gwilt. Now Lovett. He needs to get and follow this as well. Get that speed through the middle. Lovett Murray. Here is Lovett coming into the process now. Through the middle, was caught that time. Had to take them on in the end. Did it really well. Pears, sneaky handball. Ryder from beyond 50. Hasn't quite got the wheels. And a deliberate knock through with no contest from Blake. Surely he was not under pressure.
I reckon you're right, BT. I'll have to use my Essendon bias there to say that was definitely deliberate.
Oh boy, that one might be on the couch tomorrow night, joining Ross Lyon, who is also on the couch. As a matter of interest, the Saints coach on Fox Sports tomorrow night.
Well, if that one there is legitimate, and I've got no doubt, given the way that they're ruling upon it at the moment, it is, then really the latitude for anybody to take the ball across is probably a lot wider than most anticipated.
A sensational quarter of football for the Saints. They kicked 6 consecutive goals from the 4-minute mark to the 20-minute mark. And it is a real tough job now for the Bombers, who trail by 28 points.
36 contested possessions to Essendon 29. Essendon cannot win the game unless they get that hard ball in close. And at the moment, they're getting well beaten there.
Great look down the ground there, looking at the southern Coventry end of the ground. Nick Riewoldt down there. 1 goal 3 in the first quarter for Nick Riewoldt. As we're about ready, you can see the packed crowd going right back to the top deck. Start of the second quarter here. A 28-point St Kilda lead. Umpire Troy Pennell. Ryder. Either ruckman made great contact with the ball. Watson, told by the umpire he ducked his head so he wouldn't be receiving a free, and eventually Hocking. Stop start, Davey. Davey forced to give the ball over the top now to Dyson, who's got a good left boot. Sends it forward bound. Can Stanton break loose? No, he can't, so it allowed Dawson to just float across the front. And
they've got to do better than that. They've just got to be a contest. If you're going to bomb the ball in, then you have got to bring it to ground minimum.
You do, Jared. Stanton not getting up and hitting the ball down.
Fisher.
In the same way you're talking about Stanton going to a player, if you look at what St Kilda have done with Graham on Lovett, you know, they've done that. Yep. Graham's obviously an attacking player, but they said, righto, we're going to play off him and try and exploit his defensive weakness.
Well, look at even Gwilt with McPhee. Now, McPhee is right up on him at the present time, but still just not quite far enough. That time it was. There's no reason why Stanton can't play under Gwilt.
Yep.
And he can run off him, and McPhee can go to a full forward and give another option down there, because right now they are playing the Bombers on a break, the Saints, because they're getting McPhee away from that attacking role.
Gardner's palm down was clever, but no winner there.
Yeah, I suppose the only issue with Gwilt on Stanton is Stanton on Gwilt is just the strength in the air close to goals. But
how many times have you seen Gwilt take an overhead?
No, he doesn't.
I mean, I think that's worth risking, given that you're this far down. Just find out a little bit about your team and how expansive your options are.
Jones to Montagna, kick smothered partially by Stanton. The ball ricochet. Geary, a tough tackle by Stanton.
And a terrific tackle, and that's what he needs to do to get himself back into the game. It still is only, just after the first quarter, so even though the margin is lengthened out a bit, there's still a very good chance.
Ball up right in front of the Essendon interchange bench, more than a couple of metres away from that. As the umpire would like to ball it up again, Troy Pennell.
And this is very much the start, I think, of the Bombers getting back into it. First and foremost, you've got to neutralise, and I think they've done that in this first 3 minutes. Might not be as good a footy to watch.
Just halve the contest, Jared.
That's it. Just try and get your share of the ball and try and put some pressure back on the Saints, and that's exactly what they've done in this first 3 minutes. And I think Matthew Knight would say if they could go in at half-time with the deficit exactly the same, that's a big win for the Bombers.
That'd be a massive win if the deficit was the same the way this game went in the first quarter.
Here come the big boys. Ryder, Gardner, and crashing in there was Watson. Now Lovett out the side. Sees Davey. Over the top went Geary. At the back, Monfries. The lightning pace of Davey. He's out of the loop here. Snyder got a piece of him. Handball to himself. Ducks the tackle. Goes wide to Slattery. Needs a good bounce. Didn't get it. Didn't get it. Snyder wraps him up in the tackle. Some other Saints arrive.
Good decision, because he did dunk.
Then they wrestle the ball free to Hayes. It was exciting, even if it was just a moment or two.
Good stuff.
Milne caught by Hooley.
It definitely lifted the Bombers. Yes, a much better start to this quarter.
And Hooley been terrific on Milne. The matchup you wouldn't expect. This player was just amazing and deserved a goal. The quick hands by Monfries into Davey, and Davey, he and Surioli, very exciting players.
Bit of a fight off the ball here as we see Graham and Flanagan going at it, and Flanagan copped a knee in the back of his head from his own teammate there. Here go the Bombers, just lifting ever so slightly. Hocking went over, but still had the awareness to get it to Dyson, and now the Saints swarm. Free kick Bombers, in fact the Saints. And now the advantage paid. Here's Snyder. He's a very good goal kicker. Bounces 40 and 30 and closing misses.
If you can turn the ball over, you've always got an option. That's what St Kilda do. That's what they're best at. They're best at turning the ball over around the middle of the ground, and then they've got options to run to. They were desperate. They weren't going to let Essendon run the ball through the middle of the ground and just close them down and won the ball back. It was a great play from the Saints.
Here comes Ryder. Definitely a lift in the urgency. perhaps even the intensity of the Bombers early in this second quarter. We've played some 4.5 minutes and we've yet to have a goal kicked. There is Watson. Short ball sends Zaharakis back to take his kick over the mark. The zone slips into place for the Saints forward of the ball. Watson's ball is good. Finds Hocking. Handball to Dyson. Goes long and deep. Not a great position. Neagle's under the ball too much, and Dawson was able to mark.
Well, it's a pretty average kick. Neagle's in front. He's kicked it high in the air, which allowed Zach Dawson just to nudge him under the footy. Dawson eventually got the handball to Geary. Took a couple of goes. Montagna playing for space. Baker wasn't clean. Desperate for the ball at ground level was Lonigan on that occasion, equaling the desperation of Baker, which is and intensity, which is unusual.
Great play, both players desperate for the ball, and we see here Lonigan and Graham going toe-to-toe. Not sure what created that, but Sammy Lonigan, I know, is a desperate fighter and goes hard at the ball, and Graham was upset about something.
Blood rule here. He's a fiery customer as Lonigan. He's involved in that one, and then another one here as well, but in the end, Baker's going to be the recipient of the blood rule as he comes from the ground, and he gets split more than any other player I've known, I reckon, Stevie Baker, although he does put his head in places where he shouldn't.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was split last week. He cut himself on Monday Night Football.
BT, any reason why both sides are wearing the away jumper?
It is strange, given the fact it's a St Kilda home game, why they wouldn't wear their normal strip. I just don't know, Gerard. I don't get it.
Is it a marketing ploy?
Surely not. The Essendon jumper that they're wearing, by the way, it's not one that I would go and buy if I was a Bomber fan, because it's just a big fat red stripe.
I have never seen that on anyone, that big fat red stripe. It's doesn't do much for me, BT.
Hooley.
And that's a classic example of pressure. That handball was to absolutely no one. Nick Del Santo surprised me with a possession that didn't mean much.
Slattery to Hooley. Takes the mark and almost 50 there. And all of a sudden, St Kilda kicking the ball forward without a lot of thought and under some pressure as well. So I think you're right, Gerard. I think it's been a 0-0 draw here in the first 6 minutes, and that's exactly what the Bombers needed.
I reckon they've been stiff. A couple of bounces, in particular the one for Davey, has cost them a genuine shot at the goal. They're looking much better.
Watson's foot skills to be tested here. Kick into the corridors, good. Beautiful ball, and Neagle is able to slide under it and take the mark, and he's a very reliable kick.
Much better if he has to take the ball, even if it's short, he has to take it on the half volley than sticking it above his head where he's got absolutely no chance. And this is a great kick.
Jobe Watson admiring his own work on the big screen.
Well, as you should be, BT. I mean, that's Jobe's 13th possession, 100% kicking efficiency. He started very well, and that's a great 50-metre kick into space for his forward-line player.
Beautiful kick from Jobe Watson. Here we go, lining up Neagle for his third goal of the game. And I don't think there's any doubt about that. Nagle's kicked 3. The Bombers get the first in the second quarter.
It was a terrific goal because out of the back line they decided to switch the play and work around the zone. They switched the play from one side of the ground to the other, worked it to Joe Watson over the top, and then Watson's kick was centimetre perfect, as someone else would say, Gerard, into the forward 50. And real Neagle, fantastic performance by Neagle. 3 goals in a side that hasn't been able to give him a lot of the ball, but Jobe's really worked on his kicking and I think improved it in the last 18 months.
Yeah, he's having a fantastic season. Now, BT, I was confused as to whether this was a goal or not, because there is not one Essendon supporter at that end of the ground. Not one person put a hand up, not a flag, not even a pie thrown in the air.
It's a St Kilda end of the ground. By the way, boys, just in that last 30 seconds, we all went with something different. Nagel.
Well, I lived with Merv for a fair period of time. He was a Nagel.
A Nagel, all
right.
I
believe his son is a Nagel.
I'm going to go and try and go Nagel, and a little bit of Nagel in there as well if we have to. Out of the middle of the ground, it's all of a sudden just a 23-point margin here in favour of the Saints. And here go the Bombers getting a bit of the ball. Bashar Hooley to Slattery. Got to get hold of it. Got to go harder. Must go harder to mark that ball. Montagna. A high ball. The Bombers have now defensively got to handle this. They do through Watson. Saw Dyson. Here's Hooley.
Oh, he's having a bad few minutes.
Scrubbers one over the head of Lloyd. Good backup though. Winderlich, can he shake the tackle off?
Well, that was brilliant, and we'll have another look at it because Winderlich had the hands free. He was looking to give it off, but there was no one to give it off to. There was just a swarm of red double white and black.
And yet again, they turn the ball over, St Kilda. I think they work so hard on turning that ball over. And here's the tackle, Jared. You see, he did have a hand free and grabbed the hand and wouldn't let him tackle.
There's King. So now it's the Bombers applying some pressure. And here is the turnover as a direct result. Davey just goes cruising on through. The kick now needs to be good to Neagle. Over the top.
Any arms there? Is there a hand in the back on Neagle?
I don't know, Jared. As Fisher would have to see the replay again, but I think we're just trying to help the Bombers out of an awkward situation at the moment if we go hunting for those.
Owen Davey, normally a very good kick. That was a bit disappointing that the kick has to be the favoured side of your forward to give him any chance, and too far over Neagle's head. BT.
Ball to Wilt.
He's like a vacuum though, Davey. He swoops up the half volley better than anybody I've seen for a while.
He does. He does.
Look at this for the swoop.
Like a street sweeper, isn't he? Those big street sweeper vacuums. There's an opportunity now for the Bombers from half-back. Although Goddard got in the way. Very good player. Now Gwilt tries to shake the tackle. If he can get free, he can shape up. Couldn't get enough purchase around the body. It's going to spill free. And a goal goes to Milne. Saints on the rebound.
Look, and I think the goal there against the run of play, but that's what happens with St Kilda. They turn the ball over, and probably as a result of Essendon's missed handball by Dempsey there, the handballs have to hit the target. St Kilda are so good at if you turn the ball over, they'll kill you. And Gwilt probably unlucky that Milne grabbed that ball. That could have been his goal. Might have gone through for a point. One of Milne's specialties.
Two broken tackles, I think, is the other element for the Bombers there to have a bit of a look at. You let a tackle go through or go past, and it often results in a goal.
Maybe too harsh from Stevie Milne there, James. I think he had every right to.
No, I agree with you. But just second look, I totally agree with you.
Coaching staff there, and Matty Knights, Alan Richardson, who was a really important part of this coaching panel down at Bomberland. Lonigan, Watson, one of the real go-getters in the Bombers lineup in terms of the hard ball. Monfries, Lovett Murray to Hocking, runs away from King, inside ball. Winderlick takes a bounce, great build-up, run to the open goal. Bombers respond.
And that's the sort of movement that Essendon need. They need to work the ball. Hocking has been very good today. 14 possessions, played mostly on Del Santo. Del Santo only 5 possessions. So, Heath Hocking creating that goal and giving the handball off to Jason Winderlick, who, looked like he was running a bit fast and could have even slowed down, but he's a finisher. He's more than a finisher. Great running player, and that was a good goal for Essendon.
Great little handball. I think it was from Monfries there to set it up. This one here, still a bit of a mongrel handball. Much better to see them spin, but got the job done. And I'm not sure whether we're just trying to talk it up here, BT, but I just sniffed that there's still a chance in this match here, the Bombers.
Jared, they've kicked 3 of the last 4 goals, the Bombers, so your senses are right. They're outscoring the Bombers if you look at just the last the Saints if you look at just the last 20 minutes of the game. Here is now an opportunity in the middle for the Bombers again. Ryder, just not that clean and perfect in the middle, but still able to get the clearance. Lonigan, nothing wide, so he'll have to bring it back into the corridor with a handball to Zaharakis. Run down by Stevie Baker, who just went straight for the hips. Now Lovett Murray's got to hold it in. And over the line, we'll have a boundary throw in on that outer wing, the city wing here. Furious Saints fan in the front row and hugging the perimeter piping, and Ross Lyon going to work with his team. No Bombers support at the left of screen end at all. Watson did well evasively. Kick not all that accomplished. Ball in the middle. Look at the handball give. Graham on the run now. Rewalt, haven't seen him involved for a while. Could have almost got a free there. Kazitsky did well, turns around, long ball, good-looking kick, touched on the line by Slattery. Desperation was great then, Slattery.
Yeah, he just read it so well.
Great desperation. I know I'm hard on this guy, Jared Adam McPhee, because I know how well he can play, but he is giving his man, whoever he's playing, on far too much space.
3 metres off, just 3 metres, wasn't it?
Yeah, 3 metres, and that's enough against St Kilda. He has to be tighter on his man.
So the Bombers, they go to a 1-on-3. Paddy Ryder will have to do something special. He couldn't. Rewalt.
Good grab.
The pro. Del Santo. Beautiful ball. Farron Ray. Forward of the centre circle. Del Santo never seems to be flustered by foot. So the Saints just controlling this passage of play. Geary goes very wide. A 2-on-1 for the Bombers was a good result. Jones wrapped up in the Stanton tackle. And we'll have a boundary throw in deep for the Saints.
Well, we've been harsh on McPhee, but that going back with the flight of the ball there and spoiling was terrific play. You see this kick, he's just too far off. And I know it was a missed kick, but if you're going to play there, you have to make sure you can get to those kicks.
Bomber player is down there too, and not looking good as Pears. He looks in some trouble just off the back of this play at the moment to the right-hand side. We'll get a shot when we can as Geary around the corner. You can just see the trainers, and you can see Pears limping just to the right of screen there. There he is. He is in some trouble, and that won't be good for the Bombers. Let's hope that's just a momentary thing as Blake marks. Trainers everywhere at the moment inside the forward 50. They'll have to clear out, or they can risk giving away a 50 here if they get in the way of the contest.
So who drops back for the injury, Hurdy?
Well, I think that's where McPhee probably has to go on his man, and Lloydie coming back now to drop in the hole and make sure he's covered a man.
Done well here, the Bombers, to repel. Short ball, and this is a ball. He won't get the journey from there, I wouldn't have thought. Would have to be his absolute best and some. Luke Ball, eyes wandering, always a dead giveaway that he'd like someone to present. Lenny Hayes does.
What about a Torp? He's going to drop pumper. We've seen a bit of a renaissance of the Torp this week.
Yes, we have, but I don't think it's Ball's go. Sticks it to the top of the square. They'll fly. Lloyd goes up and takes the mark. And in the end, Matthew Lloyd, as James Hird pointed out, getting back from the forward line to fill the hole, did well. The Bombers are going to reload here, I get the feel. Some smooth ball handling. Slattery needs to be efficient from half-back. That's a bit of a half-train wobbler. Goes up towards Nagel, who ran past the ball. Now Fisher to tidy up. Look at the numbers. 4-on-1 there. Where's the Essendon help? But still they're able to corral. I don't know how they can do it with so few defenders back. Ray through centre half-back. A 24-point St Kilda lead. Good result. We've played 17 minutes in the second quarter, and it's a 2-1 goal quarter from the Bombers so far.
It looks, BT, like Matthew Knights has put Lloydie back there, either get him in the game or close and Kilda down, because he's spending a bit of time in the half-back line at the moment.
Oh, the kick was dangerous. The Bombers have got some numbers here. Hocking went to ground, probably should have kept his feet. Here they go, the Saints now. They wind up as that ball comes out towards Graham. Lloyd tries to put some physical pressure on Graham. Graham kept it in front, did nicely. Great chase by Lloyd. The centering ball, and they get back here. The Bombers soccer off the ground by Kaczynski. Was it there? Goal umpire says no.
Terrific passage of play, really. Both sides going flat out. Terrific bump on Matthew Lloyd, who put in a good chase to give Graham some extra space, and then desperation by Hooley to get the ball across the line.
You get a chance here, the Bombers, because at the end of the half, and the fatigue starting to wear in, the zone starting to break down.
You get the feeling something's going to open up in here in a moment. More probably the Saints than the Bombers, because the Bombers, once they get to this point on the ground, haven't looked as clean and efficient and don't seem to have the numbers. Here's Goddard. Can the Bomber defence stave off this St Kilda forward thrust? They've done it well in this quarter. Clint Jones with the short blonde hair. It used to be a common sight. The run down by Davey on ball was very good. Love it. The little handball give. He would have liked to have run himself. Watson's got to be careful with the ball. Oh boy, just went over the top, and now Blake tidies up.
Well, that one is one he's just got to get out of his game.
Rewalt didn't hold the mark. Pears looks to have recovered. Running a little sluggishly there. The big fella. In hooker. Hocking. Zaharakis.
Great tackle.
That tackle by Gilbert was excellent.
It was brilliant. He didn't let him get his handball away. At the other side of the ground, we had Davey run ball down, but Ball was good enough to get his hands clear.
This is a fiercely contested 18 minutes of football so far in this second quarter. The Bombers have been dramatically improved from their intensity in the first quarter, James Hird.
Definitely, BT. They've picked up their intensity and been unlucky on a couple of occasions not to get a bit closer, but you still can't help but be impressed by St Kilda. Just the tackling and defence. A lot of times Essendon get it to the middle of the ground, just can't get it any further.
Well, they're soaking up Essendon's pressure at the moment.
The smother.
Got to start taking opportunities.
Dempsey was clever. They've got some Bomber runners here. Winderlick needs a good bounce on Fisher. Did well, Fisher. There's Dempsey. Rolled him, said the umpire. You heard. That's why we mic'd them exclusively. dismisses controversy immediately. Here is Del Santo. Schneider.
Exclusively.
Fisher. Gardner. And the last one just not there is Watson.
He did well. He corralled it.
Really well, didn't he? Love it. Looking for a bit of sell of the foot candy. McPhee accomplished it nicely. Lonigan happy to give to the faster and speedier Lovett. He wants someone on the wing. He says, come on. I'm going to have to go myself. Long ball Ryder. Needed a really good set. Kept the ball in front. Davey. Look at that for evasiveness. Gets it over the top. There's a great opportunity here for the Bombers in Myers.
Brilliant passage of play.
Oh boy, the Bombers directly in front.
That was absolutely brilliant. Paddy Ryder, but the sidestep of Alan Davey was one of the best pieces of footwork you'll see in AFL footy.
Yeah. It's fantastic. I don't know if it's your call, BT, but this game is very exciting. They're not the best team in the competition, Essendon, but they're a fantastic team in terms of their excitement. They take it on. Some of your work, BT, is just fantastic.
It's definitely the game has lifted a cog or two, James. 25 points down. Here is an opportunity for the young man in Myers, and he comes in. The crowd very quiet at that end. It is back to 19 points in favour of the Saints.
And Jared, that's what happens when St Kilda, because they zone, they push up on you, they try and force you pressure with when you've got the ball. If you can work it through there, there's always space at the back of that zone. We're talking about Geelong before in the break about how intelligent their players are moving the ball through. Some of that's starting to come into Essendon's game. The players I don't think are quite as intelligent in their footy smarts as Geelong are, but terrific play through the midfield there by Essendon.
It's just amazing how much more demands this game places on individuals than any other era. I mean, guys used to play in the back pocket with rare exceptions like a Gary Ayres because they couldn't play in the midfield. Gary Ayres could, and I guess the great sides had guys in defence that were capable of playing midfield. But now we're asking almost every player on the ground to make decisions, picking out their teammates, etc., in a split second that generally in other eras only 2 or 3 players had to make those choices.
And Lee Colbert, Matthew Lloyd down on the bench, looks like he's getting a bit of attention by the doctors.
Johnny Reid just checking out Matty's nose. He copped a nice little whack on the bridge of his nose, so it doesn't seem to be too much problem.
Alan Davies been reported here, I think, boys. We might, if we get a chance to listen into the umpires, but certainly Steve McBurney, the officiating umpire, is writing in the book and speaking with Davey. That's all. Okay, so Davey has been reported for rough play, I think the umpire said there.
Which is unfortunate because based on what we've seen, he'll probably get a week, and hopefully if his record stacks up, he'll get off with just a penalty.
Farron Ray. Here comes Milne. McPhee did well to force the contest. Still scraps at ground level. Ryder comes in. Slattery there as well. Here's McPhee. Able to keep the arms free. Really well done. Lovett's handball was instrumental in the breakup of this play. Hooker wide. And now the Bombers out of the loop again. Almost a big crash there with Dawson coming full steam ahead. Del Santo just loved the way he picks up the ball. And the Saints threatening, although Lovett Murray just staves off. Remember, the Bombers have kicked 4 of the last 5 goals in this game.
There's no doubt in my mind that this is the style of play you've got to take it to St Kilda. Now, whether Essendon are good enough to execute the run, execute the handball and kicking and get it through St Kilda's zone is questionable. But Geelong are good enough to do that, Jared, and it shows that if you do run at them and do try and take some risks, you are a chance.
Well, they're susceptible like any other group of players to pressure, but they've just got so many good decision makers. And just getting back to that previous point, the long kick used to be the only thing you had to do. Get it and kick it long. Get it and kick it to a contest. Now with the coaches and the style of players that's evolved is exacting so much more from each player with every time he gets the footy that it is a much more difficult game to play.
McQualter cut off by Winderlick.
Well, you can't be a one-dimensional player, can you? You have to have more to your game than just kick mark nowadays. And the game's evolved since the mid-'80s, Jared, when you were close to the town.
Definitely, and it's just a better thing for it.
King of Moomba, I think he might have made it to. Slattery.
Thinking of scrapping Moomba, I heard.
I think sure he was the last King of Moomba, and I think he wants it to be rejuvenated.
Here they go, the Bombers again, as they start to lurk in the corridor. Winderlick with some wheels. Goes wide with a handball to Hocking. Half-forward Hocking's just going to put it into space. Here they come again. Myers at the back. Up he goes, couldn't hold the mark. Bombers have got some ground-level players here. Running over the top was Davey. Still got the numbers. Monfries, he's clever. Falls to ground. Wants some support, eventually got it. Lonigan back outside the threatening 50 now. The centering ball, Nagel's got to beat a couple. He flies, makes a contest of it. And the troops arrive for the Saints, Lenny Hayes. Snyder. We've got 1:38 to the half. And they have fought magnificently, the Bombers, in this second quarter to get themselves back in the game. They were, at one stage, 33 points down. And they're now back within 19, the Bombers.
And we've seen it for St Kilda a few times this year, boys, and this is as well as someone's playing against them. I think Essendon taking it up to them better than probably some of the more reputable teams are. And, you know, interesting for St Kilda that they're doing very well this year, but interesting for Essendon, they've come a long way since the start of the season.
Both runners sprint out onto the ground to let them players know there's just 1.5 minutes to go, not to do anything silly. There goes Goddard to Geary, did well. Marked, played on from 50, didn't have a lot of time to think about it. Just what the Bombers wouldn't have wanted.
It was too easy, that contest against Myers there. Geary taking a mark and Myers letting him get in front. Geary, fantastic mark and then run on and kick the goal, but yeah, I think Myers will be disappointed with his attack on the ball and his ability to win that contest. If you look here, Jared, you see Myers allowed Geary to get in front. You just can't do that anymore.
Sensational piece of play from a young player, though. He was under pressure all the way through. Just showed great goal sense. And his opponent will look at the replay and say it was just a half step, but they count against the top sides. Definitely.
So he immediately takes a seat on the bench and Ryder's back on. We've got a final minute in this first half.
Still looking for the answer why you kick a goal and come off.
Yeah, it's unusual. I would have thought you would have been ready to explode and kick another. I was able to kick multiples. Through not coming off. There is Dyson through a bit of traffic.
The move of the time for you boys.
James Hird just sitting there in disbelief at the high-fiving that we often give ourselves. Kazitsky, short ball, Montagna. Although James quite...
Here we go.
Able to supply his own level of confidence at times. Here's Hayes. Into the middle. Can't concede another one here, the Bombers, in this last 30 seconds. Cannot concede. The Saints are happy with their lot at the moment, you would think.
And so too should be the Bombers. That's out on the full, I think.
Have you seen the ruck duel, Jared, between Paddy Ryder and King and also Gardner?
I think Ryder's taken it up to them. In fact, I think they're more worried about Ryder than he is of them. The strength of King is one thing, but Ryder has often got over the top. That time it was well done by King.
Yeah, the strength of King coming to the fore there. Now this is dangerous. Here's Graham. A bounce and got it some free time from 50. The centering corridor ball. Rewalks the danger. Got the one claw. Did well to knock the ball down. Here's Snyder. Siren sounds. Great half of football. Stay with us on Twilight Football, because I tell you what, the Bomber fans just a little nervous at the moment. But their side played a wonderful quarter of football in that quarter after being belted in the first quarter. It's a 25-point St Kilda lead at half-time. 8:56 to the Bombers 5-1-31. 25 points. Let's get down to Lee Colbert. Has some news on the jumpers that Jared spoke about in the second quarter.
Yeah, do indeed, Brian. They're both agreed. Both clubs, it's the best fit, so they're going white on black, and it seems to be working tonight. Just want to touch on Paddy Ryder. He's been tag teamed by King and Gardner. See if he can run out the second half. And also Rewalt. He had a quiet first half by his standards, but boys, I'm telling you, he's on his toes, and look out in the second half if he can get some delivery.
Is it sustainable, what we're seeing from the Bombers, James Hird?
Well, the only way it's sustainable is they keep winning contested ball. As we said, they need to get in and under. I think Essendon were able to stop the supply going to Kazitsky and to Rewalt in that quarter, and they'll need to, in the second quarter, they'll need to do that if they're going to keep moving towards a win.
Here they go. Start of the third quarter. It was an angry and fired up face of Gardner against a casual expression of Ryder.
It was a fantastic day. Just both players jumping hard and high at the footy. Michael Gardner is a leaper at the ball, and so too Paddy Ryder, neither of which are trying to nullify the other.
A little bit of something out of the back door there. Here go the Saints. Quite control the ball there, Geary, but got one for too high.
Just a bit sloppy, a little bit just too hot in that situation.
Geary forces himself onto that left boot, but successful, and Milne dangerous by boot. Here's Milne just out of his scoring range here. Rewalt offers the pocket, and Milne drags the ball across the face of goal, searching for the journey.
Poor kick by Milne. Rewalt was amazing to watch then. He made 4 leads and just led time after again. Didn't get rewarded, but that's why he's a great player, because his leads, his work rate on those leads is just amazing.
And in the end, the Milne kick was a nothing kick. It gave no one any chance, did it?
Terrible kick, Peter.
Yep.
And there's very few sides that are going to present the same 3 dangerous forwards. They had Rewalt lead up first, then they had Kazitsky, and behind them Brendan Goddard. That's an amazing array of talent to go one after the other as options up forward.
They're just about through here, the Bombers through the zone. Kick is good to Davey.
Got to take him on, he's got the spare.
Umpire said he dropped the mark, and it was a good call. It did slip out of the chest as well, and otherwise Monfries would have been away.
Disappointing, because Monfries is a player who hasn't had a lot of the ball for them this game. He had only 3 disposals, and he needed that ball to go and have a shot at goal to get a little bit of confidence.
Gardner, beautiful palm down to Lenny Hayes. Jones on his favoured left side. Working back, Hooley was courageous, but Rewalt just superb.
And Hooker not eyes on the ball, too concerned about Rewalt, and allowed Rewalt to get the front spot and mark that ball.
Gee, what was Milne doing then? Should have gobbled that up as a mark. I know he was probably waiting for Kazitsky to come through, but when you've got to go, you've got to go. Should have marked it in the end, and Kazitsky could have protected his body.
Here's Rewalt's mark, and terrific mark in between 2 Essendon players, and eyes on the ball the whole time.
Little boundary umpire, then big throw in. Comes out the back door to Hayes. It cleared the pack almost, and Hayes goals for the Saints.
Yeah, not enough arm across the body of Lenny Hayes, letting him too much space. When you're playing in the defensive 50 and you're a defender, a player like Lenny Hayes is going to try and push off. You get some space, and that's exactly what he did. You know, there was no one within 5 metres of Lenny Hayes. Jared, it astounds me in a sort of a throw-in or a contested wall up that can happen. Hayes just, who's on him?
Well, I think it's Joe Watson who was ball watching. Your team there just tracking in the background. He was side by side him. But the challenge for ball players like a Tim Watson, like a Joe Watson, is that when you are in the defensive end of the ground, you just have to pay your opposition player the respect and get defensive side of him.
Yeah, you do. Arm across and make sure they don't get that sort of space.
So good start for the Saints in this third quarter here. Just extending the margin to 32 points. Look at the leap of Ryder. Beautiful athleticism. Now the ground level work, as Gardner says, we'll just force another one here.
I'm interested to see, Gerald, what they do with Matthew Lloyd this quarter. He didn't have a lot of that ball in the first half and was playing up the ground, allowing Jay Nagle to have the space all to himself. But at the moment, he's isolated in the forward 50 at the moment. And if Essendon are going to come near St Kilda, they need him to get more of the ball.
Joe Watson was looking what was downfield then, rather than perhaps grabbing the ball, and Cooley is able to save the day at half-back. Kick around the body is very nice indeed, and here go the Bombers once again. This is to Lloyd. Couldn't quite get down enough to mark it. Did well, Fisher. Watson over the top. Davey, opportunity here to run into the open goal. Hit the post. And that may well have been Hooker on that occasion.
It's the game plan to give the ball to the bloke running, but if I was Alwyn Davey having a shot over Hooker, I reckon he's got a fair right to burn him and go himself. He's a terrific shot for goal, Davey, and inside the forward 50, he's a better kick than Hooker is.
Yeah, he had no one in front of him either. He could have turned and gone.
Terrific play with Matthew Lloyd on the forward 50 though to win the ball. The kick wasn't great, trapped the ball and got up and gave it off.
There's Del Santo's kick that's floating out of bounds. Good call by the boundary umpire there, and Lovett Murray decides to concede backwards just to try and get a better double angle approach coming in for McPhee. He concedes backward as well.
James, you played in a season where you went through, I think it was until round 21 before you were defeated by the Bulldogs. What sort of mental pressures are the Saints going through at the present time, or is it just that they're just enjoying footy?
Yeah, I think it's enjoyment when you get to this stage of a season, when you know, if you're winning, everyone's up, you know you've got confidence that you can come from behind, or you can do it from whatever position you're in. You know, that season was one of the best seasons we had, and you get great confidence out of just winning game after game.
But Graham dropping the ball almost. The tackle with McPhee not paid. Davey thought about the boundary and the corridor, the better decision. Lovett Murray. Hocking. A very, very wide ball here to Pears. Now the kick forward to Slattery. He marks. They close. Plenty of leads. He wasn't ready. Still backpedaling. Not balanced.
Needed to move it on quicker than that, B2.
The leads came a little too early, though. Here is Dyson. Keeps the ball alive. Sneaky little handball now to the top of the square. Lloyd's there. Over the top. Big one. Nagel spills to the back. Davey gets hold of the ball cleanly. Gave it to Watson around the corner. A little bit too much bend on it. Marked by Lloyd. Lloyd's marked it on the behind post when others had given up.
Looked like Lloyd gave it up too. It was almost only a half attempt at the mark.
I don't think he wanted to jump, knowing his momentum would have taken him over the line.
Well, he's burned a couple of bananas in recent weeks. Let's see how he goes.
And that's to the near side as well.
He's done it the same each time.
So Lloyd with a tough opportunity.
He is. He's kicking them too narrowly, isn't he? He's cutting them too sharply. He needs to give them a little bit more air. But here's the mark.
Ooh, should have hit the post. Might have just grazed it, but very difficult to see if you're on the other side of the post.
Well, I don't know how you can see it from here, Jared, but
we might just have another look.
I'm thinking that the benefit of the doubt when you're talking about a millimetre. Probably. Kick goes wide. Kazitsky.
I think Hurdy's body language is the thing that gives it away the most. Let's have another look. See if it does it. In fact, hit. Second bounce.
No, clearly
a mark, is it, Brian?
Clearly a clean grab. We're not really sure, but anyway, inconclusive the replay there. As McBurney says, we'll ball it up. It is a 30-point margin with the Saints.
30 points, but there's still a chance for Essendon. I don't think they're totally out of the game. At 30 points, 5 goals is a big margin, but the way Essendon seem to be able to move the ball quickly and score quickly, they're a chance. You wouldn't want the Saints to kick a goal or two now, though. If you're an Essendon supporter, of course, Jared.
You've done it very well so far, James, so we wouldn't go overboard.
Del Santo wrapped up in the tackle there. Probably going to have to get Hurdy to move on eventually with his parochial attitude and realise there are 15 other teams out there that all require a little bit of attention every now and then.
Tell you what, it's hard, boys.
Levitt. There go the Bombers again. Eyes only on the ball. There was Hocking. Dyson's got a hoiking left boot. It's a long ball. The back, Lloyd.
Dangerous. Two big tools together. That time Naylor took front spot and took the attention of both Fisher and Zach Dawson. And Lloyd was just able to slide out the back and ended up with a pretty solid mark. Nice kick in. He's an improved player.
Yeah, one of Ricky Dyson's strengths is his disposal. He's very good with the ball in his hands and a good runner. And Matthew Lloyd, a very strong mark from behind.
For goal 905, Lloyd. Familiar approach. Lines up from about 25 metres out. An important goal in the context of this little Bomber revival. The confronting task there in front of Lloyd. Lets it rip straight through the middle. The Bombers are back within 24 points.
And I would say they've had the majority of the play in the last 5 minutes. Jared, they're moving the ball quite well. St Kilda still obviously the better team out in the ground at the moment. When they get the ball in their hands, St Kilda are to move it through. But, you know, Ricky Dyson kicking it inside 50. I think Essendon 3 or 4 more inside 50s this quarter than St Kilda. And I've liked the game of Hocking. I thought he's one of the players that have improved greatly.
Well, at this stage, I reckon it's fair to say St Kilda aren't going as hard as they can go. They're not in top gear. We saw top gear in the first quarter, and right now they're just opening up a little gate. And whether or not the Bombers are good enough to walk through that gate, we will wait and see. But there's no doubt that Stephen Baker has more pushes and little grapples than nearly any other man in the country.
You would love Stephen Baker in your team,
yeah.
Opportunity for Hocking. I reckon he's been excellent hocking in this game. And a free kick to the Bombers.
Hocking came to us off the rookie list, I'd say, about 3 or 4 years ago, BT, and came. His skills weren't great, but the one thing he did have was desire to win the ball, and he's improved his skills and kept that desire.
Monfries around the corner with not a great kick.
Good forward pressure again from the Saints.
Yeah, it was Milne, I think. Short ball, Goddard. Now ball. Watson's got to leave one and go for the other, but in the end he did quite well getting between the two of them. Now ball with a chipping one over the top, finds Gwilt. Gwilt on the half-forward line for the Saints. A nice centering ball. Kazitsky's got really good body position. Couldn't hold the mark. Milne went past the ball. Crashing in there. An opportunity here now for the Bombers. Monfries just got rid of it in the nick of time. McPhee behind the ball, unsure what to do, so just releases the ball backwards to Pears. This is dangerous. Pears in heavy traffic, thought his way through the process nicely. The Bombers with a clearing kick. Gilbert misjudged the flight of the ball. Beautifully sold by Lovett. Now steps on the gas. Couple of bounces. Long handball. Dempsey's a good runner as well. Takes a bounce. Blake doesn't come at him, so he keeps going at the goal. Blake, you've got to come at him. Dempsey should have kicked the ball. Made it harder than it was. 2 in a row for the Bombers. They're back within 18 points.
I'm going to control my excitement, Jared, but I'll tell you what, you've got to be excited by a team that just runs the ball. In the first quarter, they were going for all money. They'd run the ball, and they were clearly, St Kilda were clearly the better side. Since quarter time, they have run and run and run. Poor mistake there, poor attempt at mark. Andy Lovett's improved his game, but Dempsey, just the coolness to run and run. A lot of players get to this point and make the wrong decision, and you thought at this moment Dempsey'd run too far, but the coolness to snap the goal, and that's why AFL football is great. It's a great game when you see guys like this run and take the game on, and this game is delicately poised to be one of the fantastic games of the year.
Indeed it is. Back to 18 points is as close as it's been since the 10-minute mark of the first quarter. And the Saints, for one of the rare times this year, are under enormous pressure here. Ross Lyon straight onto the Odie Cologne, and some instructions to be relayed out. No panic at all inside the St Kilda box. Stanton forward with the ball. Here's Fisher. Farron Ray. Great year he's had. Look at that for a kick. Gwilt with the extended arms, couldn't glove it. Stanton had ball, advantage paid. Jones goes long. Kazitsky's got good body position against the hooker, and Kazitsky this time marks in front.
So now we've seen the response from the Saints, and this is where Essendon will have to find even a further gear, because the Saints have now realised there's a genuine threat on. They've lifted their intensity over the last minute or so. Great attack on the footy by Luke Ball, and the advantage was well taken.
And Kazitsky there just showing his strength and experience. Hard guy to move in that position.
Kazitsky comes in, puts it straight through the middle. He's kicked his 3rd goal of the afternoon.
And game on, really. We've got a game where two sides obviously battling hard to win the contested ball, and St Kilda at the moment still 24-point advantage, still an advantage that you'd love to have at this point of the game. Luke Ball, his improvement this year through the injury and being able to get out of those groins, fantastic. I think because he's seen him hold his body position, and Pears just unable to get in front of him.
Great kick by Cozzy. 3rd goal of the afternoon. The Saints responding beautifully as Pears takes a look at his work on the replay board just to see how he was outmanoeuvred on that occasion. Very handy for the modern day players, the replay screens these days. It's an immediate feedback, James, to be able to look up at the replay and find out exactly what you did wrong.
Yes, or what you did right in many occasions, BT.
Exactly. Here's McPhee.
Better for McPhee. That's his strength, the layoff. We saw it was exposed early by Gwilt, but that's where he's at his best.
Dempsey over the top. Winderlick under some pressure.
Got to start going forward again. When Essendon go forward rather than sideways, that's when they become dangerous.
Dempsey, true half-back. You can see the interchange area just off to the right-hand side there. A great look at the Dockland water side of the ground.
And what they're trying to do here, BT, is search another angle into the forward line. They're trying to go across or find the angle through, because if you go straight down the line against St Kilda, they're such a good team at zoning, but they've found the way through.
Big Bell Chambers taking the mark. Slides the handball sideways. Once again, Hocking from outside 50. Here they go, Nagel.
Says he did it well, Nagel. He just didn't quite judge the flight of the ball. He had Dawson covered, and just letting him know he might have outsmarted him. Still didn't get the footy.
No, but he just didn't get back quite quickly enough, did he? Beat him in flight, man.
Need the next one here, the Bombers. They're down by 23, and Rewalt.
And you can see Rewalt's worried coming up the ground, pushing up, trying to provide an option out of defence. When he knows the game's in their hand, he stays back deeper in forward 50, but when he needs to do something, pushes up the ground to get provide another option.
Just a personal licence to do that, James. You don't need to be told.
Well, I think in Nick Rewalt's case, he probably doesn't. He reads the game and knows what he needs to do.
That's brilliant tackling. That is just superb from
Schneider.
And whilst he hasn't had a big game, that was a big moment.
Kick wasn't good. It was smothered off the boot. Dempsey came through with a fist. Now an opportunity for the Bombers in the corridor. Winderlick through the middle. Davey doesn't know Goddard's behind him. Sees the lead of Nagel. Too long.
Second time, Jared, he's gone under the ball.
He has. He looked to have it covered. And an opportunity for Dawson to show him a clean pair of heels. Did it well. Now Geary at half-back, centering ball. Here comes Lovett Murray over the top of Snyder. The knockdown to Hayes. Ground level, front and centre ball was beautiful to Del Sando. Look at the work of Rewalt. Incredible work rate from side to side. Sends the ball down to Kaczynski. Beautiful lead, great kick. And Kaczynski will line up from a difficult angle.
It's almost an unstoppable duo when you get Rewalt out on the lead, which then exposes one man against one man. Kaczynski's the other bloke on the end of it. He's a quick leader. He's a smart leader. Holds his leads at the other end of the ground, though. That's been the problem. He's mistimed the ball twice, has Nagel, and not taken the advantage.
For goal number 4, this is a left-to-right slider. And too much to the right. Just sneaks in for a behind.
BT, the space was created there for Kaczynski because he moved, he asked the ball to go to the fat side in the middle of the ground and then doubled back behind, was able to get the ball in the pocket. But there's Jay Nagel just coming under the ball a couple of times. He's got to judge the ball better than that.
I don't think that was his fault. I think that was a bad kick.
No, but it can just mean that halfway through your approach to the ball, you suddenly stop, get the man off on your back off balance, or he gives away the free. Just to keep going in a straight line is not good enough when you know it's going to go over your head.
To pick up the flight of the ball earlier and make sure you tread water or go forward, depending on where the ball's going to fall.
Bit of a David Campese goose step in there. Won't go astray. Here they go again, the Bombers. Hocking should have gone forward with the kick. He took them on, tried to get a little bit too cute then.
Alan Davies limping on the ground.
Hayes.
I think he might have run into Stevie Baker.
Del Sano with a beautiful non-preferred side of the body kick to find Milne.
And it's that sort of turnover that has cost the Bombers too often this match, and also has been one of the great hallmarks and traits of the resurgent Saints.
There is Davey. If you have a look at Hocking on that last one, he had the chance to kick the ball.
Interesting why he didn't kick the ball, because he had an open forward line and didn't deliver it.
Did he want to get his left foot?
There's Stevie Milne. We're right behind this one. And there it is, that right or left to right kick on that occasion.
And hasn't this game opened up, boys? I mean, both teams are playing open forward lines, and neither defence is really flooding back or zoning back, and it's created a great game to watch.
And that's exactly the point. We've got two sides here, both in the 8, that are just brilliant to watch for independents and neutral observers. It's just brilliant to come and watch the Bombers who've improved so much, and we know St Kilda, they are capable of just playing electrifying footy. A far cry from, I guess, a couple of years ago.
Yep.
Lovett Murray trying to create something. Winderlick to Lovett Murray. Now they're under the pump. Dempsey, if they get out of this, it's Houdini stuff. McPhee, they have. They go one out. Lloyd's going to mark uncontested inside 50. Should not go over the top to Ryder. Go back and kick the goal from 45 out directly in front if you're a professional goal kicker like Matthew Lloyd.
Yeah, I think if he was a right footer, he could have swung around to his right foot very quickly, but a great call, BT. Not to hurry it. Most players try and hurry that kick, but he would have mucked it up, I think. And terrific handball to get the ball out. McPhee seeing Lloyd on his own, 20 metres on his own in the forward 50. I wouldn't think Ross Lyon would be very happy with it.
Good decision by Lloyd there. Many would have said that perhaps it was selfish. It was not. He wasn't balanced and ready to go. and not on his favoured left side. Here is Lloyd with a bit of a crunch kick. Comes in from 45. Absolutely beautiful from Matthew Lloyd. Got a couple in the quarter, and the Bombers are back to 19 points.
All day Essendon has been trying to work the ball through the St Kilda zone, the St Kilda pressure, and in the first quarter it didn't come off, and St Kilda were able to stop that at times. In the second or third quarter, St Kilda have stopped it. But the way they worked it through here, there was no right for them to get it through. Winderlich just off the Lovett Murray. Lovett Murray flicked it off. Dempsey flicked it off. It is the important one to get it out, and it's the important kick, not to go for another handball, to know when to kick the ball and not just to keep the cycle of handballs going. BT, this centre square is a very important centre square.
Well, they've got Watson back in, and he's had a fair spell on the bench, Colby, in the last 10 minutes or so.
He spent a bit of time there. McPhee came straight off too after he delivered that beautiful one to Matthew Lloyd. So rotations are plenty.
They need to break this deadlock, get it below the 3-goal margin. That's why this one's an important one, according to James Hird. The clearance here looks like it might go with the Bombers. No, it won't. It'll go to Snyder. Of St Kilda. Hayes was dumped, but they didn't let it become a clear clearance then, the Bombers.
Geez, they've got a sniff now, the Bombers.
I think whatever happens with the result of this game, a lot of people will have to sit back and reevaluate Essendon's position. I know definitely myself, I didn't pick them in the 8. I didn't think they were the quality that we're seeing here today.
And when you consider no Welsh, no Spike McVeigh, and no Fletcher,
And no Hill.
it's I guess he won't be back this year, but the other 3 will be. There's a significant upswing just in personnel alone.
Tell you what, for a fierce game, the umpires have been great too. They have not been noticed at all in this game as Goddard from the wing, a driving ball forward. Dempsey's got to do it all, but it clears the pack, and Kazitsky has taken the mark directly in front.
There was some body pressure put on Dempsey there, but he can't afford to let that ball go over the back. You know, he's had a terrific game. He's run and he's received and he's put the ball in the forward 50, but that's just one you have to get. If you're coming back with the flight of the ball, you can't allow that to drop over your head.
Kazitsky lines up for goal number 4. He's second of the quarter. He's directly in front. There's a little bit of left to right fade about this. As he looks at it, kick on the way, straight through the middle. Beautiful kick. Kazitsky's got 4, and all of a sudden back out to 25-point margin for the Saints.
Too harsh, Gerald, or not?
No, I think it was there. I think as he becomes a more experienced player, he'll expect more of himself. He'll look at this and say to himself, could have gone a bit harder, had to make contact with Kazitsky, and Kazitsky's own man needed him to make contact because he'd lost body strength. He's a young man who hasn't got the power to control Kazitsky, so there was an opportunity to make it a two-sided assault on Kazitsky legally, and it was an opportunity missed.
And Goddard's kick, we haven't really rewarded that yet. It's a great 55-metre kick into the 30-metre zone out from goal. That's the sort of kick that's going to hurt Essendon because they don't have the strength or the height of defender to compete in the air against Kazitsky, and Rewalton probably needs to be a bit more of that ball go into the St Kilda forward line.
Matthew Knight, Scott Camporelli, Alan Richardson just sitting there. Out of the middle of the game, the Saints go. Opportunity for Zaharakis. Dempsey thought about the long wide handball. In the end was hurried in his endeavours to get rid of the ball. Had to go back and get it. Gwilt with the front on bump pressure. And umpire Ray Chamberlain, who has a fast whistle, says we'll ball it up.
Just again, the Saints, they can draw a massive crowd, as do the Bombers, but the pressure must be mounting on the AFL to shift that match when they come up against Geelong.
Interesting decision for the AFL. There's pressure from all sides, but there's some very smart people in there who'll make the right decision, Jerry.
There's McPhee through the middle of the ground, you two political animals. Ball goes forward. Monfries might get a free here, will he? Yes, he will. Monfries within range.
Won't go away, the Bombers. And they only have to have a few things go their way in the next 35, 40 minutes. And, well, it could be a beauty.
This to get them back within 19 points with 4.5 minutes remaining on the clock.
It's a bit of a, not sure the free kick was there too much to Monfries. Very quiet day from Monfries. He's got a chance. This is only his second kick for the game. Got a chance to kick a goal and start a bit of a run for himself and the team.
Here we go from 45 metres out. Important kick nearing the end of the third quarter to get them back to a 19-point margin. Monfries comes in. Kick on the way, looks a little right. It is. Minor score. 24-point St Kilda lead with 4 minutes remaining in this third quarter. Hayes back to Goddard. Goddard goes wide with an ill-directed kick, and getting on the end of it is Myers.
It's been an exception this year from Goddard, an ill-directed kick.
Inside 50. Long ball, big mark over the top, couldn't get hold of it in the end. Lloyd went to ground. Snyder was tackled, dispossessed. I love the way the umpires are letting this game go at the moment. Watson, handball to Hooley. The Bombers in complete control. Lovett's going to see this to McPhee. He marks, he can keep going. He thought about it.
Yeah, I thought he might have just gone on and kicked the goal. It was a split-second decision.
Had to play on there because the space has now been closed up.
From 50 metres out, McPhee. He was in two minds, boys. Don't think he'll get the journey from here. Not sure what he's trying to achieve out of that. Dempsey now under the pump, surrounded by St Kilda defenders. Snyder.
That's fair enough. He had a go, probably should have gone on, didn't work out.
Well, good result for the Bombers.
Criticise McPhee for actually having a dip.
No, the only thing he did wrong there, if you're going to fake, you fake to your opposite side and then go to your right side. He's faked to his right side and gone to his left and really didn't give himself an option to kick the ball. But yeah, you've got to have a go, and credit to him for having a go.
Cracking contest this with us. Fox Sports Live, Twilight Football. Two teams having a crack. One that we know is very good and another trying to make their own way in the 2009 Premiership season.
Just like to highlight Joe Watson's contested possessions, 15 contested possessions for the game. The next best player is 7 contested possessions. Amazing performance.
Comes straight off the bench to trap that one. Here's McPhee. Kick is inch perfect to Lonigan.
He's lifted McPhee. He's had a good quarter.
Yep. You must have heard your criticism of him earlier, Jared.
Lonigan can go to Lloyd deep. Instead he goes to Hooley short and wide. Lloyd lurking in the goal square, waiting for the bomb. McPhee will be forced to go back and kick it. 2:15 remaining in the third. 24 points down the Bombers. Here it comes on the head of Lloyd. Got his man one out. Was he being held by one arm? He wanted a free. Umpires wanted nothing of it. And Rewalt out wide has nothing to kick to at all. This is going to come straight back as Hooker marks.
The counter punch is the worry. And Paddy Ryder, who's just been put on his backside, I'm not sure who by, but he's the danger man. He's pushed forward and he's got King. They've got to get it to him one out because he'll dominate King in the air.
Hooley goes a long ball again. Here comes Stanton at the back. Over the top, couldn't hold the mark. Jones tidies up. Gives to Goddard. They just keep coming, the Bombers. The Saints Montagna keeps it alive. Nice skill.
Did it really well under the hoop.
Blake, a minute 22. This would be a dagger in the heart for the Bombers if the St Kilda side went down and scored a goal now. Hayes to McWalter. Short ball missed the target. Dyson winds up on the left. Sees Lloyd. He's wrong-footed on his right side. Brings it back on the left. A big hiking ball. Just offline to the right-hand side and a minor scored for Matthew Lloyd. 23-point St Kilda lead. Oh boy, under a minute to play in the third quarter. The Saints with control in the back half. Fisher.
I think the Saints will be fairly content now, BT, to wind the clock down and see this quarter finish.
What a quarter of football. 3 goals apiece kicked in this quarter. Milne went without it. One last chance here. 25 seconds. Zaharakis goes long. They line up for the Bombers. No win in the front with Winderlich or Stanton from behind. It might have been Monfries. The bad handball though. Picked up by Winderlich. Needs to knock it out. It'll be pinged. Was it stuck in there? And the umpire says we'll ball it up. 8 seconds. Time for a goal. It'll take about 3 seconds to bounce the ball.
Great desperation here by Jason Winderlich.
There's the ball up. The Bombers the only one that can score from here. Picked up by the Saints in the end. And Fisher will clear it. Exciting quarter of football. Stay with us on Twilight Football because we have got one of the games of the year. It is just a 23-point margin in favour of the highly fancied St Kilda. They are being tested by a young outfit here today. 23-point lead, the Saints at three-quarter time.
of fitness at the start of his career. He's developed into a fantastic player, and today he knew at the start of the game if Essendon to have a chance, he had to be in and under, and he's done exactly that.
Start of the last quarter, Saints lead by 23 points over a revitalised Bomber outfit here at Etihad for twilight footy.
And the beauty of this is that there's something in it for the Saints as well. They are under a little bit of siege. They've coped with it, and if they do concede a couple of goals, all of a sudden they've got to really start trusting what they've put in place under the threat of a loss.
There's the man you speak of, Watson with the clearance. Baker and Gilbert.
In a back line under a bit of fierce pressure. They've been so good for 7 matches.
There's Hayes. And Ray. Good user of the ball, doesn't mind his non-preferred side. Rewalt. Strong overhead, couldn't hold the mark. Dempsey. Milne applies the pressure, just lucky to get rid of it. Hooley. Quick hands, the Bombers in defence. And a really good opportunity here for Hooker. Little chipping ball without a lot of direction. Out on the wing, City side of the ground here.
Matthew Lloyd in that third quarter, Jared, really came to the fore. He had a quiet game up until then, but took the game on. The ball going into him a little bit longer was a good effort.
Kicked 2 goals as well, Lloyd, in that third quarter. Ryder does his own roving in the end, sends it inside 50. Monfree's caught behind, and
here's one of the players of the year to date. He has had a fantastic season, Gilbert.
So a free kick will go against Monfree's here for the hold. And we'll go to Blake, Jared.
I think it was Lee Matthews that said during the week that your reputation is often 12 months behind your performance. Well, Gilbert's the sort of player that, to me, is playing at the A-grade level of defence at the present time, and yet he's in such a successful side that perhaps he's not pinpointed as much as some of the bigger names.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jared. I mean, he is very good in defence. He's very creative. You've also got, well, Gilbert, he's able to run off his players, have a contest in the contested situation. And, been terrific so far this year. He's got a lot of other stars to compete with for that sort of recognition.
And go the Bombers once again. Hayes fighting in defence, able to just buy a little bit of yardage out wide. Now Jones forced to retreat. Hayes under pressure from the tackle, the turnover. Love it from beyond the arc. 50 to the top of the square, up they fly. Punch through for a behind in the end.
Essendon, if they're going to kick some goals, need to keep the Saints defenders accountable. Both times the ball has gone into the attacking 50. The Saints have had a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-2. They need to get a couple more players playing deeper so they keep the Saints players accountable and not able to get up for that contested ball.
Look at that, no risk. Blake says, no, I'm going to give the ball to either Goddard or Del Santo because they kick it in. Even though I have it in my hands, I'm not going to take the risk. Good, sensible play as Gardner takes the mark.
Paddy Ryder needs to have a lift there. That just wasn't competitive against Gardner. Gardner just took an easy mark overhead and no pressure at all.
Snyder with a long ball. Rewald's got his man under the ball, and in the end they both lost sight of it. Now an opportunity here for Hooker.
Ryder looks tired to me, Jared. He's been rucking pretty much one out against those 2 ruckmen all day with a slight change, but he looks like he's out on his feet a little bit.
Monfrees.
Well, I think the coach has got to recognise that and get him off. And the runner's out now with him.
Wendelek, Watson looking a little sluggish down the corridor, and now we've just started this final quarter. Looks like he will need a rest as well. Soon as Dyson spins on a football bit and puts it down the throat of McPhee on the lead. Too far out to score.
He could kick this BT, couldn't he, at the indoor?
On the run, I wouldn't think any hesitation. A standard set shot. Just go the journey, I reckon.
He's improved as the game's gone on. I was fairly critical of him, Jared, in that first quarter for not playing on his man, but he's pushed up the ground. He's had an influence in the third quarter particularly.
McPhee to set this game alight from inside the centre square with an enormous kick. Punch through for behind by Gardner.
And that's where Paddy Ryder needs to be. There was Matthew Lloyd 1-on-4 there. Ryder needs to give him a bit of a help out in that position.
21-point margin now with the Saints.
Are they just soaking up pressure here, do you think, Hurdy, the Saints? Are they just sort of draining every ounce of run that Essendon have got?
Well, if they can keep Essendon goalless for this period while Essendon are moving forward, they'll definitely open the game up, and a kick against in transition or against the flow of play would be heartbreaking for the Bombers.
Since quarter time, the Bombers have outscored the Saints by a goal. There's an opportunity for Ray. Paid the mark, and that'll be 50.
I reckon Matthew Knights needs to get Paddy Ryder off for a rest. He looks absolutely stuffed. The last 3 contests he's been to, he hasn't got near the ball. He needs to come off, have a quick rest, and get some energy back.
Well, if you've got Bell Chambers in, you might as well get him on.
High ball, here comes Stanton, takes an uncontested mark in the end, and Just someone waiting for an error here. Watson, little chip over the top, too much juice on it, and Farron Ray marks.
And that's the error you call for, BT.
Yep, just that little chip kick. Now they go wide. Kazitsky marks. Looks for a runner in Snyder. Got it. Loves his left foot. Look at this to the advantage of Riewoldt. Got to get back here, Dempsey. And Riewoldt just had superior body position with a great kick from Snyder.
And it's the Watson error at BT. I mean, Joe's been a very good player today, but that missed kick that Ray intercepted, crucial. And Snyder, terrific kick. Obviously, Riewoldt's going to out-body Dempsey and just too tall for him. But the kick into the middle of the ground that got turned over, that's where this goal's come from. And Joe, I think he'd know it. He'd know that he'd be very disappointed with that kick, and he's got to lift his head and keep going. 35 disposals being good and get that one back for the Bombers.
For just praying this doesn't go through.
For just his second goal of the game. In comes Riewoldt, steps to the line, and he's split the middle, Jared. Got a couple. Saints get the first in the last.
Well, the footy gods, or the normal gods, they all demand a higher level of skill than what we just saw from Joe Watson. This was a critical miss, and it has been punished severely. Farron Ray, nice little give, and the transition to him was quite superb. The left foot kick coming in eventually from Snyder just sets him up nicely. Wasn't enough height or body strength there to knock Riewoldt from his kick.
Well, turnovers, what they do is they put everyone out of position, and the reason that Riewoldt was able to get so much space is because there's Stewie Lowe, the ex-St.Kilda champ, number 23 for the Saints, actually coaching now. He's under 10s.
Playing the odd game with Old Brighton, I think it is, or Haileybury it is, in fact, yes. So still very fit, running the odd marathon here and there. Here's McPhee. They need a responding goal here, the Bombers. Lloyd's got good position here. He's being held off the ball. No free. In fact, it was a late call. Must have heard the commentary in McBurney because it was a very, very, very late call.
It was a good call though, BT. The hand definitely over the shoulder or around the arm, pulling him down. And as we look here...
Oh, it was just, wasn't it?
Oh, he was only just, but...
It was there.
Technically there.
I don't want to be biased.
This will mean that Matty Lloyd will line up for goal for his third from about 15 metres out, almost directly in front. This is a must-kick goal for the Bombers. To get it back to a 21-point margin, we have got you in the best seat in the stadium. There's the kick. It's a goal. Lloyd's got 3. Bombers back within 21 points.
But it's been like the Great Wall of China, this 18 to 21 point deficit. They haven't been able to get the next goal, and if they are to win, that is the critical one. Been a great battle between Sam Fisher, one of the key defenders in the competition, and Matthew Lloyd. Been a terrific battle. I'm not sure how you'd see it, but I reckon right now it's probably 2 quarters to Fisher and 1 quarter to Lloyd. And this one at the moment in dispute.
Well, I think Fisher definitely had the better of the first half. Lloyd only had 4 or 5 possessions in that first half, but that third quarter, Lloyd got on top, 2 goals. This quarter started well with a goal. But if you think Carlton for the Bombers, think Collingwood for the Bombers, they came from behind. They were in this sort of position, and obviously St Kilda are a better defence than that. But the thing with the Bombers, they can score so quickly that they're never out of it.
There's a right up jump, an advancing jump over the top, wasn't it?
And you said he was tired, Jared.
Well, I reckon the runner went out to him and said, you make the choice. You come off or start firing.
Here's Jones. He's a left footer. He can go all the way from 40 metres out. Missed badly, out of bounds on the full, in fact.
There's a similar situation on Anzac Day. Matthew Knights said to him at 3/4 time when I think Paddy Ryder acknowledged he was looking for a bit of a rest. He just said, righto, here's your chance. Off you go again.
The St Kilda pressure here is broken down. They're not pushing up on the Essendon defence to pressurise them. And giving Essendon space to run at them is dangerous.
Here's McPhee. This one can go inside 50. Lloyd's a genuine one-on-one with his man. Tries to push him out of the way. Lloyd's got it. No, he's given it the other way. He said he had hold of his jumper.
He certainly pushed him. Whether or not he had hold, it looked all legal to me.
Oh, boy. The umpire's just stepping in the last quarter of the game.
Was it the square up?
Oh, no. Please. Here's Watson. The Bombers are going to reload and come again. Slattery. The pressure from the St Kilda players surrounding the ball. Still allows Dyson to get the ball away. Another one-on-one duel with Monfries and Fisher. Boundary line beats them all.
Crowd letting their feelings be known. Let's have another look.
Well, he's definitely got hold of his jumper, but then Zach Dawson had hold of Lloyd's jumper as well. In that case, you'll let it go.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a very technical decision. And Lloyd, he just in disbelief, can't believe that decision's been given.
They both had hold of each other's jumper there.
Is it actually illegal to hold the jumper?
Oh, it is, but if you've both got hold of each other, then it's cancels each other out. Can't hold or restrict a player.
He had marginally more of the jumper, maybe, BT.
Yep,
And,
maybe for slightly longer. Here is Watson. Now an opportunity for the Saints. Rewalt. Dempsey did well. Tackle on Gwilt was great. Ball was pinned.
And I wonder if Matthew Knight's had a word to Dempsey after his effort with Nick Rewalt in the third quarter, because going back to the flight there, Dempsey, much better commitment.
Yeah, very good as the replay shows. Stanton, happy to just juggle the ball out. That handball went at the shins of Lovett. Get the feeling something's going to bust open here in a minute.
Oh, good tackle.
And that is an illegal disposal. Look at this. Lovett out of the middle with a spearing ball. Finds Zaharakis. Here's a last quarter special. Here comes Lloyd. Couldn't quite get there. Dawson goes down as well. McPhee keeps it alive.
He's had a big second half, McPhee.
And the Bombers are pressuring.
Normally Lloydie gobbles those up. There he's especially hard to get around. Great tackle by Nathan Lovett-Murray. That's the sort of inspirational play you need. And yeah, Zach Dawson did very well to just get a fist in there and put Matthew Lloyd off.
That was a great fist. Couldn't have been more timely. Gilbert with the don't argue. He took him on. The tackle needed a stick. Farron Ray to Clinton Jones. And he hasn't got much on.
It's like a wall of China.
Chip in the middle, it was no good. Dempsey took the mark. And 50. Oh. That's tough.
He has made the big decisions.
That is tough. I thought he grabbed him in the contest.
Tell you what, even if he didn't grab him in the contest, it was a split second half. It's a tough 15-metre penalty for something that doesn't have an impact on the game.
Gee, she's a short 50.
Oh, no, he's grabbed him after he completed the mark. I think that goes with a good call to McBurney. Have a look at the replay, James, and I think he's probably right on that one. Dempsey, directly in front, more importantly. This is where the game's at. It's a ball that goes left. And a minor score, golden opportunity squandered back to 20 points in front of a whopping 45,594 people here today.
Well, they've had some opportunities, the Bombers, and they won't just keep on giving them up, the Saints. They've got to take their opportunities in front of goals, and they have not been able to breach this margin to get within a sniff and put real pressure on St Kilda.
The St Kilda faces in the background told the story there. A little bit hard in mouth at the moment as they Geary ball here at centre-half back. Have a look at them. Just a little concern. The biting of the nails, always a dead giveaway. Lonigan got a timely hand on this ball. In fact, it was Stanton. And the chipping ball has to be perfect, and so does the aerial skill. And Zaharakis pulls it off.
Geez, he likes the final quarter, Zaharakis.
Yeah. Becoming a specialist at that, Gerard. There's Pears.
I wouldn't be taking him off. He may be tired, but he does seem to find something special when the game is in the crunch.
Bryson told to play on, not the required journey in the kick. So he concedes backwards to Winderlick.
They're almost just hanging on the Saints. They're happy just to soak up the pressure.
Kick goes wide. Beautiful ball to Lonigan. Got just a fingertip it on it, did it, Kaczynski.
You're right, Gerard, but you're right in what you said before as well. Unless Essendon kick the next goal and they kick it pretty quickly, this game will slip out and St Kilda will get one on the rebound. They're not going to give them Essendon too many more chances to have shots at goal.
We throw in. Goddard. How long is it since you've seen Montagna, Hayes and Del Santo have some clean, clear ball?
Yeah, they've been put under enormous pressure by the Essendon tacklers. And
first quarter, I reckon it was.
Yeah, the first quarter. And just the contested situation where Essendon have really fought their way back into the game. They were 20 contested disposals behind at one stage, and now it's back to, only 6 different. Essendon 97, St Kilda 103.
Barely 5 metres, that kick. The tap down here not affected by the Bombers, although they've got plenty of numbers around the ball. Elwyn Davey was held in the tackle, and Ray Chamberlain says we'll ball it up.
It's great. affirmation almost of Matthew Knight's coaching this last 2 or 3 weeks. I think last year there was no defensive pressure whatsoever, but what we've seen in the last fortnight says that this side is developing rapidly.
Watson gives it to Neagle. Great smuggle by Graham. Neagle was going to go again, gave it around the corner to McPhee. Needs to find someone. He has. Monfrey's marked.
Adam McPhee has lifted his game, and I'll back Angus Monfrey's here. He's a guy who spends hour after hour after hour practicing his goal kicking. Probably doesn't get the reward for the practice he gives, but great smother here by Jason Graham. And second effort there by Nagel. And this pass from McPhee, he's lifted since you gave him a spray, Jared.
Here is Monfrey's. This to get it below 20 points. Monfrey's comes in from 45 metres out. St Kilda fans at that end of the ground aren't sure. It's a bending ball, but nowhere near enough.
Can't pump him up, can you, Jared?
Well, he has had 2 opportunities in the last half, and he needs a little bit more practice. You get the feeling James is going to ring out of McPhee on the way home.
No, definitely not. No, do you call it how you see it?
You'd be wanting to get to him before the replay, James, if you want to save the relationship. We'll ball it up out wide.
Based on what you've seen, Brian, will the Bombers make the 8?
I'm just not sure. Look, I'm positive now that St Kilda, this is sustainable and they can go on. They're obviously going to make it. With the Bombers, I'm not so sure, Gerard. I reckon they're going to be thereabouts, anywhere from 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, somewhere in about that position, I would have thought, for the Bombers. And I reckon that those in the coaching staff there would have probably thought that at the start of the year, that was the best finished result. And I reckon that's probably about where they're at.
I think it comes down with Essendon. They've got to be at the top of their game. They've got to be playing with the intensity that probably St Kilda don't have to make the 8. St Kilda can afford to be a little bit off, whereas
Young team can't play like this all the time.
yeah, no.
Well, that's the point with Fletcher and McVeigh and Welsh coming back in. But this has been interesting just to see St Kilda deal with the pressure.
Here's Rewalt, certain mark. Rewalt marks, and that'll be 50.
Done.
Silly play. But what a kick by Del Santo.
Brilliant.
Del Santo, I mean, hasn't had his best game, hasn't had a bad game, but just, hasn't had the influence he has the rest of the year. But that kick, just a smart kick into space for Rewalt to run onto.
Rewalt will come in and kick his 3rd goal and make it a 25-point margin.
And Colby, as Paddy Ryder comes off with the physios, the physios look pretty concerned about him at the moment.
He's definitely out on his feet, James. They're actually sitting him down right now and just going to give him a stretch. So Bell Chambers gets his chance and he really needs to stand up now.
Well, I'm not sure what Lovett Murray's thinking there, but it's just not on, that sort of nonsense. I mean, whatever chance that Nick Rewald had of missing it, became 0 when he comes in and lays a dumb bump like that.
Yeah, it wasn't smart.
And I reckon Del Santo's match has almost reflected Saints. He's done the job.
Just done enough.
After the first quarter where they were absolutely on fire, playing brilliant footy, they've just done enough to get across the top of the Bombers. Game not over, but clearly the indicators are they're going to get home.
Gardner with the win to Ray. Rewalt again. Umpire said it was touched by others. Slattery did his best to get the ball out of the zone. Here's Gwilton Lovett. Through came Dempsey. He's got beautiful clean hands, Dempsey. In tight situations, watch him. Just a little push off balance as he went to kick the ball, and here comes Hayes. Not a big kick of the ball. Little left foot kick around the corner to Rewalt, who represented, and he'll line up for his 4th goal.
Who's won the Hayes-Watson battle? Jared?
Well, I think it's probably been one of those nil-all draws. I think both have been outstanding players in their own right. I think Lenny Hayes makes less mistakes than Joe Watson, but Joe Watson's had more footy. Lenny Hayes is playing in a significantly more powerful side.
Yeah.
Using his full 30 seconds here, Nick Rewalt. Comes in. Real difficult kick at goal, this one. Across the face, and mark was by Gwilt. Yes, it is. It's been paid right on the behind line. So it'll be a severe angle.
That must kill the coach. I mean, you can't afford to let the ball be marked there by a guy who's not even the tallest player in the pack. He's not known for his contested marking.
Plays on the left boot, hit the post. Chelsea Roffey, the goal umpire, umpiring her 50th game, I think 2 weeks ago, or it may have even been last week.
Really been impressed with Andy Lovett's season, James. I know that he was his future was in doubt at some stage. Some suggested he may well have been put up for trade bait. Not sure why somebody didn't pick him up.
Well, he definitely was put up with trade bait. Jared Essendon was sick and tired of his behaviour off the field, and I know the leadership group had a stern warning to him. And speaking to Matthew Lloyd during the week about Andrew Lovett and asking him whether he's improved, he reckons his attitude has been absolutely sensational this year and improved out of sight both on and off the field.
Beautiful skill by Dempsey on that occasion to get it to Lonigan. Nice little handball there into Hooley. Hooley to a bit of space. Here comes Matty Lloyd. Needs to keep his feet in that situation. Blake. At half-back, Lloyd, great tackle.
And good work by Blake too, just feigning that he was trying to get back into the play and slowly sliding across the boundary line. Steve Silvani special.
Good result for the Bombers to keep it in there, forward end of the ground. Montagna, no contact. Watson got a high contact at the head then, that was not rewarded.
Michael Gardner, 10 kicks, 10 possessions, I should say, and a plethora of hit-outs. He's just been an amazing story in his own right, given that most people had him dead and buried as a player over the last 24 months, and yet right now he's right up there with the top ruckman in the league. Hands him back.
Well, I think after that grand final, the first grand final, West Coast plays Sydney, I think most people watched that game and thought that he was pretty much gone. I mean, I know he's played football after that, but this year he's proved most of his critics wrong, and he and King have probably in the end won the battle against Paddy Ryder.
McQualter.
With Paddy off the ground at the moment.
Lovett Murray. Kick needs to be precise in the middle to Monfries. Fisher did well to knock it down. McPhee's there, so is Nagel. Says to Lloyd, double back and I'll kick it long to you. He goes out wide, looking forward, not finding Slattery.
It was a mistake by Jay. He should have gone the option of Lloydie, because once Lloydie had led, there was nothing behind him. Sometimes you got on to that full forward lead, BT. Otherwise, you really hurt your forward line.
So a 26-point lead. It's been roughly the margin for a good portion of the day. That was clearly off the boot of one of them. I think it may have been off the boot of Gardner. And no free kick paid, though, as the boundary umpire puts it back into play. It's dropping the ball because he did not make contact. It was a clean and clear tackle. Del Sano. Little opportunity for Milne to Rewalt. Great hands. Happy with where they're at now, the Saints. Feeling a lot more comfortable. Milne. Kick missing the target. Lovett Murray. Dempsey. And now Monfries.
Well, it's actually just been a great effort by St Kilda in control. They haven't blown them away, but they have never, ever looked as if they're going to lose this match.
Never got to let it get out of hand, have they?
No. And I think what you said before about Del Santo, you can put a handful of players in there. Del Santo, Goddard, Montagna, Rewalt. They've just done enough. They've done what they've needed to do to win the game.
Over the top of Montagna came Dempsey and couldn't quite keep it alive.
And it just means that round 14 game against the Cats is going to be even more exciting. Both Geelong and St Kilda.
You see either beaten before then?
You never know on injuries or up or down, but in their best form, no.
Well, St Kilda have got to play Brisbane, Melbourne, North, Carlton and Richmond before they get to Geelong. You would think that all of those are winnable for the Saints.
Well, they're going clear favourites, wouldn't they?
Yeah, Brisbane, Melbourne, North, Carlton, Richmond. They would go in clear favourites to all of those games. Jones. And Rewalt happy to find the boundary. Just under 4 minutes remaining. On the other hand, the Bombers month ahead looks like Richmond, Geelong, Adelaide and Melbourne.
And that'll probably determine their season, because they're all games that they will go in as either favourites or co-favourites, depending on whether they're home or away. And on the current day form, over the last 2 or 3 weeks, you'd expect them that they'd need to win or will win at least 2 of those matches to keep them in touch with final 8.
Bombers on the half-back line. Gilbert takes the mark. Gilbert today has had 17 touches of the ball.
Do you see a place for Scotty Lucas back in this side, Jared? Obviously, another experienced player who was dropped 2 weeks ago. Didn't play his best game in Bendigo yesterday.
Well, as difficult as it is, I don't. Yeah. I mean, I don't think he's got the pace, and I think that's the main reason. If he can find that pace back, well, then it's going to be, I guess, reflecting that he'd lost the pace through attitude more than through physical preparation. But at this stage, their game is built on hard running, quick running, and I think that with Nagel doing quite well up forward, I'm not sure the role he's going to play.
They definitely need McVeigh and Fletcher back in this team. I think McVeigh'd add some pace, and well, they've got plenty of pace but experience through the midfield, and Fletcher to, you know, the Essendon defence has been pretty good. It hasn't been, it's been kicked, been scored against, had 13 goals kicks against it. Fletcher has that dimension of attack to the game. I
guess if you were looking towards finals and you could say, Scott Lucas, can you play on Justin Kazitsky? If he could do that, then there's a role.
Montagna around the corner. Knocked away. Here's Owen Davey. Oh boy. Ducked the first one, got away with the second one. And now Myers. Short ball in the front of Monfries. Kept it in front. Well done. There by Standon to keep it alive. Out wide Nagel. Love it now. Can run to 55. And a beautiful kick that was deliberately slid off the side of the boot to Slattery.
It's a great kick, BT. You're right. A beautiful kick, because he saw Lloyd had a 2-on-1, and it would have had to be a hard kick over the top to Lloyd, but saw Slattery out of the corner of his eye. And that's what makes Andrew Lovett such a special player, that he can sum up a situation and go to the correct position most of the time.
The Bombers training staff working fairly hard on a few of their players as Slattery comes in and puts that one home. So back to an even 20 points with a minute and a quarter remaining in the game.
Lee Colbert, they seem to be working on Paddy Ryder's hamstrings down there. It'll be obviously disappointing for the Bombers if Ryder has hurt his hamstring. What seems to be the problem?
Real concern if he goes down, because as we know, Hill's out of action, so Paddy Ryder getting plenty of attention on his left hammy. Hopefully only be possibly only a week.
Beautiful kick. It's well weighted. It's in the air for a long time, but still allows Slattery to take a chest mark.
Be surprised if it was a strain, though, Hurley. I think they'd have the ice on it by now if there was any concern about that. I think the young boy is actually just absolutely exhausted.
Just making him run a bit more.
Minute 12 remaining in the game. 20 points may not seem a lot, but the Saints have rarely let it get any closer than this. Back of the pack is Hooker. Lovett Murray to Lovett. Defending run. This is typical of Lovett. Off half back. The change of direction continual. The good disposal also typical. Monfries directly in front. Kick on the way. Missed. 19 points in favour of St Kilda, as Ryder has just been told by the doctors and physio he will take no further part in the game.
What about yourself, James? Scott Lucas, you played a long time with him.
I think he'll get another chance throughout the year. I think that you know, how long he spends back in the twos will depend on form, and Matthew Knights has said to him it's all on his form, and if he can get that back, there's a spot for him. But on the way the Bombers are going, you know, their focus on youth has definitely been a positive, and you know, the skill and speed they've shown. But they do need in the next year or two just to make sure their defence doesn't get cut up, and you know, a guy like Scotty Lucas can play there. He can also play forward. He's not a spent force. He's still only 30, 31. So if he gets his body right, he's got plenty of football left in him.
Luke Ball and Hayes. Wide, and an opportunity here for Del Santo to square it up to Rewalt. He's just going through the motions here at the moment as the siren sounds, and the unbeaten record of St Kilda remains consecutive wins. And the Bombers were gallant today, but just didn't quite have enough, going down by 19 points.
19 points, I think that's if the Bombers, faithful that turned up today in their droves, could have banked that at the start of the day, they would have said every time. A lot of people thinking this was going to be a blowout, and the way that the St Kilda side started, it was as if it was going to be 100 points smashing. They were superb early, the Saints, but after